Welcome to our podcast. This is the Ranters. This is our first official podcast, the one we're giving the big number one to. And I'm one of your hosts, Newman Taylor. Pleasure to meet you guys. And
I'm Josh Shepard. Pleasure to meet y'all.
Austin Moreno.
Seth Nelson.
all right. You're going to be listening to us talk about a whole bunch of things, so prepare for this. Prepare for it. We don't have everything set up right, so we don't have any funny catchphrases or anything. But, as time goes on, we'll get better at this.
We'll see how many beers it takes for Josh to start slurring his words like last time.
Let's see how many beers it takes for all of us to start freaking out. All right, the first topic on hand, which we will be going on to, is Steam sales. This is a dangerous time of month for everybody, or time of year, for your wallet, where everyone is just...
It's finally over.
I'm
still in recovery.
Yeah.
Is the Steam sale over, or is it?
And
Oh,
Yeah.
Actually,
Damn
I
it.
did this
There was a
morning.
game I wanted to pick
Yeah.
up, but I was being lazy about.
Which game?
I wanted to pick up Morrowind for it was like cheap, but I think it's
okay.
probably off sale. It was like $10 or $5 or something at some point.
I only want to pick that game up as an honorable homage to it because I've
Just
played
have
it
it.
so much already that there's really nothing I can do in that.
That was
game.
my first Elder Scrolls game. And then I got to play the older ones that are like 2D sprite based, and those are so hard
Mhm.
because you're literally just running into random things. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, here's a tower here. I wonder what's in there. Death is in there.
You start in a game and you're following in is very overwhelming. It doesn't
Yeah.
really give you much direction. It kind of just puts you in the cave and here you go.
Yeah. Personally, for this sale, I learned my lesson from last year, which I'm not even a PC gamer, but I happen to come upon at least 20 or so games. And they're all still sitting there, and I've only played like 2 or 3 of them. So I really tried to stay away from Steam this sale.
Out of all 78 that I've bought and I keep jumping around, I'm turning into what I don't want to become, and that's Josh as a game hoarder on Steam.
Yes. Join me in my ranks of having a mass digital list of games at your disposal that you'll never finish because there's too many of them to play.
76 games in my list right now.
That's how I am with physical games. Oh, you did not just call me. Kevin just called me. That's how I am with physical games, because I actually own somewhere over 200-something physical games.
Yeah, you are really the game hoarder.
I have
You own
like
the title.
9 consoles.
Yeah, you're gonna be like one of those guys with the rooms just of shelves
Mm.
with games, just
Like
sitting on them.
I'm not aiming for that, but it could happen.
It's gonna happen.
He's gonna be
Don't
second.
kid yourself.
You're going to be second place to the guy in the Guinness Book of World Records with 175,000 games.
Yeah. We just started, but we already have a nuisance coming at the garage, so...
Behold!
Hey, thanks for ruining it.
Yeah,
We're in the
thanks for
middle of
ruining it.
this.
Very happy.
And you just... You couldn't have called someone you didn't think was here?
Too busy to do a thing? Like answer a phone?
Yeah, it's when we're recording it, and this is all... this is all going on.
You have some editing process to go through.
Thank
now.
you. So...
Do you got another chair lying around?
I'll keep this.
Started good until the garage.
Oh yes, there.
Until the phone was workable, but then the garage door kind of...
You should have just answered it and just held it up to the mic.
No, I should have.
You got a lot of broken chairs.
A couple.
Literally a couple.
All right, well, I'll keep this time mark as a reminder that this is when Kevin decided to show up randomly and destroy the podcast.
My name is Gators Johnson.
All right, we're going to move the mic away from you.
I'm still Gators Johnson.
That's cool. Should
Yeah.
we start over?
Uh,
Or should we just work with this shit?
we'll just work with it. Let's go with it.
All right, that's
We're
part
going
of-
with it.
part of our charm.
Keeping it.
So where the hell were we?
But
Kevin being the only person here that could not participate in the Steam sale because he does not own a computer.
Yet.
How do you feel about that, Mac?
Yeah.
Wait, no,
Oh,
there's
man.
like 10 games on Mac.
Yet.
you could they have a list. They have a handful
bunch
of
of
games
games.
you could play on Steam there.
They have a bunch of games, but they're not very good.
Yeah, you can play the obscure I don't even know.
Have you guys
what's-
played the Stanley Parable?
Oh, I actually have.
Is that good?
is
I
that?
wanna get
I've
it.
played
It's supposed to
through
be
that.
a critique of video games, like the illusion of free choice in video games
Yeah,
Mhm.
within its own video game.
that's pretty much what it is.
So it's there to show you, like, even in the most open world, like Mass Effect, where you feel like you've got all this options and freedom, it's still something that someone put together themselves. because I've heard there's parts of the game where you can like kind of glitch out of the world itself, and you think you've tricked the game finally, but then the announcer will be like, he'll catch you on it.
Yeah,
He'll
like-
call you out in the middle of that and be like, yeah, like good job on breaking the game.
You know what? Another game reminds me of that is Antichamber.
Antechamber?
I've not.
I don't think I've heard of that one.
Never
It's
seen
pretty good. It's like a puzzle game, but it's pretty much like however you want to perceive the puzzle and try and like perceive the world. It's pretty cool.
I've noticed these games that just kind of have like their own like free will moving around, like just story-based games have been pretty prevalent this year.
Well,
And
like
they've been up and coming throughout. Like since I've noticed, like in 2012, like a couple of them came out. Like
I think 2012 was like the renaissance of like indie
Yeah.
developers.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
that's when they were like kicking in full gear. And in 2013, especially with Steam with the Greenlight initiative thing, like indie games are getting bigger than
oh yeah, Steam
Like,
Steam
they're-
really helped the
Oh,
indie
yeah.
gamers a lot.
Greenlight
They're
really
essentially
cool.
like fully established as their own.
Have you guys been using Greenlight?
I use Greenlight. I definitely use Greenlight.
I've been on
there's
and off.
a few games I saw in there, but I don't know if I bought it.
Like-
Like because I'm
There's
afraid
some-
of my.
For instance,
computer.
Stanley Parable was one of those games I was following
Yeah.
the Greenlight for quite some time. And
Yeah,
it
you
finally
showed me.
came out.
You showed it to me back when it was still on Greenlight.
Yeah. I actually checked it out before it was even on Steam, like when it was just like in its first version.
Was Gone Home on there? I haven't played that shit either. But
Gone Home was on the Greenlight.
I don't know, but I've heard a lot of good stuff about Gone Home.
Yeah, it's another one of those games where you just run around and like.
Well,
you
that's
know-
like back to the point and click days, dude.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
pick up objects and like try to figure out where your family's gone.
I've heard good things and bad things about it. Like what falls in the middle is what I hear is a lot of people who played it are expecting it to be like a survival horror game in some sense, where at
Mhm.
some point someone's gonna like jump out and say boo, but
yeah, I don't think
it's-
there's any of that
no.
in that game.
but there isn't.
Yeah,
It's,
it's
it's
just
not that kind of
A
game.
very like, I guess just the subtlety of the ambiance makes
Let's
it
see,
kind
like
of
a
sinister. feel.
Thriller kind
Yeah.
of feel
Not-
instead of.
yeah, it feels like a thriller, but the thing is, it's not. It's supposed to be like a storied world that doesn't necessarily have to keep you on the edge of your fucking seat, but it's supposed to immerse you in like whatever's going on.
Mm.
I think it really all depends on the mindset of the player, like whether they put themselves in that situation or not. Because like if you go in thinking it's gonna be like a scary horror game, and since it's so like subtle, like the way you do things in that game, like your feelings are gonna like drift towards being on the edge of your seat more because you're putting yourself to that level, as opposed to like going in knowing what it is and just be like, oh, I'm gonna look at objects and do these puzzles, and then you know there's no danger, so you're not gonna have that same effect and feeling that other gamers are having just because they're not educated enough about the game, so they put themselves in that situation pretty
See,
much.
Like over the last few years, though, gaming's gotten so big that I think we're not used to these type of games that are mostly just about the world itself and immersion,
Yeah.
where they're not trying to scare you
Yeah.
at every fucking point, or
But-
you don't need to be shooting a gun all the time. And although these games are making their footprint now, they're getting a lot of flack for it because people are so used to like, I need to be like on the edge of my seat, like
Yeah.
Twitch response, and all these games that are just now making their appearance aren't getting the actual
Mhm.
recognition they need or deserve, or hitting their target audience because people are wanting all this shit that isn't.
Well, that's the issue when they step outside the box. They finally get a slap on the wrist because they're actually trying something, and then the target audience they're going for is bulked in with the majority of people who just want to play Call of Duty and just shoot things and win.
Are you super high or something? Why are you still wearing shades?
'Cause I'm Gators Johnson.
Dude, Gators Johnson, people. We heard it right here. Welcome, Gators Johnson.
Gators
In the
Johnson.
house.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for questioning your
Yeah,
merits.
haven't you seen photos of Gators Johnson?
Don't
This-
do it again.
Christ,
Well,
man.
I've never met a celebrity in real life before.
Yeah, well, Gators Johnson's here.
Was I supposed to bring notes?
If you would have paid attention, yes.
All right, so
Yeah, I'm not really using these notes.
well, we used.
I'm kind of.
You're
We'll use
using
the
the
main
notes,
topic.
but
Use
you're
the
using the
notes.
notes.
I got some notes.
All right.
So
Yeah,
someone
that-
else feeling spiffy about these Steam sales? Any
You know, I actually
Key elements for
didn't spend as much on this Steam sale.
Let's get into
that
that.
I-
How much do you guys think like a ballpark estimate of what you
I
spent?
could
on these
tell
games?
you honestly that I only spent roughly around $30 a Steam sale. I did not splurge like I did last year. Last year in the summer sale were
Like,
pretty
altogether?
splurging moments. Yeah, I spent about $30. I picked up about maybe 10 games.
Nice.
And All the games are pretty decent that I picked up. Like Alan Wake for $3. That's a steal.
Oh,
I got it. I haven't played it yet. I'm excited.
It's good. Like
such a good game. So original, man.
Dude,
it's so good.
I cannot wait.
It's
to start
weird. Like with Steam, it's got its own like. When I'm buying a console game, like $60 doesn't seem like a big deal for a new game or something, or a game in general, or even like $40 for a used game every now and then. But for some reason, when it comes to PC, because I'm always on Steam, it's like, shit, I gotta wait for it to like drop down to $5.
Yeah, it's like the knowing that it's gonna be $3 one day, and then you have that feeling deep down inside, like, dude, I like 2 months ago I paid $50 for that game, and now it's on sale for like $5.
Yeah.
Why couldn't I have just waited?
It
I
creates
have
such
100 games on my list that I haven't played yet. I could have waited.
That's
Such
why
a
I really
weird
splurged.
ecosystem.
I probably spent between $75 and $100.
Nice.
Fuck.
I got 21 games.
Yeah.
I beat you on that one. I've on top of the $100 Steam card that I had, and on top of what I spent, I think the most I spent in one purchase was about $67.
Ooh, that's
But
more.
on top of $15 there, $20.
Yeah.
I usually try to keep everything at a budget. Like I wouldn't buy anything really over $10 unless it's something I really wanted that was a good deal. Like I got Last Light for what was it, $13.50 or something like that, and I bought Tomb Raider, that was $10, and now it's back to $50 again.
I almost bought that.
Like those type of games, like those ones that are
Almost.
like still relatively new, that they still are almost charging full price. If it's
Yeah.
$10, I'll buy it.
All right.
I don't care if I won't like it or not. It's just something to have.
Well, yeah, I was pretty much just basing my purchases on the overall price and how much of a discount I was getting.
But most everything I bought was stuff that I've already beaten on console. I just wanted to see what it looked like on PC since I built my new computer.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, I was thinking about picking up Dark Souls. I have it on console, but I like played like a few
Maybe
hours
the
of it.
PC version will actually get you to play it.
No, you know what?
It's literally the modding community that is around PC that wanted me to play. Because then I could actually play with people I know, like for sure all the time. Because you can mod in a patch where you can just invite people to your game, and I don't know, like because how crazy mods get, there's a whole bunch of content that they can make for the game itself. Like if you take Skyrim for example, which
Oh, yeah,
has
that's
so
the
great.
best example of modding. Like
fucking
Bethesda in their
expansion.
games, they always give you like. So I'll give the same to Steam and like Valve in their
the
games.
workshop.
They,
you know.
they put in work for the fan section, make their own content, and like be able to have other players come back to their fan made content, and it's pretty good.
the
Yeah.
town overhauls for Skyrim made it for me to play that game all the way through again. It makes it look like a completely different game. Oh, it's so pretty.
I don't get to play like games with my either because of time or whatever, or they didn't get the game. I don't play a lot of games with friends anymore because it's just not as convenient. But with PC, I have like a friend friend base dedicated to PC games.
And like everyone doesn't have to spend like a $60 wad
Yeah.
on the game
You
that
drop,
everyone
like-
like you can pay $20 and you got 4 people in a game. It's $5. Like
If you picked it up during Steam, no one's gonna feel bad about dropping $6 on Dark Souls.
yeah, exactly. Like that $6 for Dark Souls was probably like one of the best sales that existed in this time around. That was a steal. That game was amazing. I mean, granted, if you
Fucking hard.
install that game and play it like in its vanilla state, like it's probably one of the worst ports that's ever been created for the PC.
Yeah, I heard
But if
about
you
that.
put in some of those patches that players made for it, it makes the game very beautiful and vibrant and nice to play.
I
Another
don't know. I
resolution.
picked up the Bureau XCOM Declassified for like $8.
I didn't hear anything good about that game.
I like the first one, and I'm really excited for
Well,
the second one.
XCOM Enemy Unknown.
Hmm.
Yeah, the Bureau is a completely different game now.
Yeah, but I like what they changed about the game. It looks really interesting.
I don't know, I think the fact that they had a game, and then when XCOM Enemy Unknown came out, they had to scrap that game completely to make a new game because of how well Enemy Unknown was doing. Gives me sort of a bad like low hopes for the Bureau. So I don't know how it turned out. I didn't play it, but I don't have high aspirations for it.
We'll see. I haven't played it yet, but I'm down to give it a shot.
All right. Steam sale is-
Have you seen Hammerwatch yet?
No.
That's something I wanted to mention. That game is awesome. It's like plays a lot like Gauntlet.
We could have a whole thing about like indie games or something, dude.
No, that's pretty much a lot what was on sale.
Oh yeah, the indie games are like what makes Steam like my happy place. Those are like my favorite games to play right now.
It's
'Cause,
definitely
like,
giving a lot more
I think
traffic.
the indie developers are like the most thought-provoking developers that exist right now. Because all these mainstream people are just putting out the same bullshit
Well, they're
over
trying
year
the
in and year
hardest.
out.
That's because most mainstream things are backed by investors, and investors
Yeah,
just
exactly.
want what
And
works.
they just want money. So what they're making is
What
like
works.
they're successful in doing what they're doing, and like the
Like-
sheeple are playing these Call of Duties year in and year out.
and
like,
Assassin's Creed's now.
Yeah,
that comes
so
out
Assassin's
every
Creed
fucking year.
has
It's the
come out
game of
like
the
5
year.
times already. It's the same game with a different like backdrop. I mean,
Yeah.
they open up the environments and the draw distance, sure, but you're still running, collecting things, killing this guy, going to point B, synchronizing this tower, rinse and repeat. That's Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, that last one, like, that was the end to it for me. I was like, it's just a bigger game of more of the fucking same
Wait, are you
repetitive
talking
shit.
about 3 or Black Flag?
The Black, whatever the new one is, Black Flag 4 or whatever it's
Yeah.
called.
I hear they're actually going to spin that off into its own series of just
Whatever.
pirate-themed game. Instead of Assassin's Creed moniker, they're going to take that off.
I don't care.
You know,
I like it.
I'll give it
Thing.
to Assassin's Creed 4 for doing the pirate thing because the little bits of things you do to get away from playing Assassin's Creed while doing the pirate thing was fun. So if they target the pirate thing and make it its own game, and like it would be on par with like Sid Meier's Pirates, I believe.
Sid
Because
Meier's,
like the ship making and like the ship battles and all those overseas piratey things were really cool in that game. It's just once you get off the boat and on the island, you're playing Assassin's Creed again.
Yeah, well,
And
I
that's
feel
it.
like there should be like a limit to this. Like, if they're going to turn this into its own series, let it be like 3 games. And then fucking drop it. Because you can't, like...
That's what they did with Assassin's Creed 2.
Okay.
Assassin's
I
Creed.
mean, they know how to, like, all right, maybe we should go into an Assassin's Creed 3 and really like blow people's minds.
Well, they did 2 and then Brotherhood and Revelations. So it
Yeah, I
wasn't
think
just 2 to 3.
Assassin's Creed 2 is what killed the series for me because that was like Assassin's Creed overkill. They're like, we're gonna take part 2, make it 3 movies or 3 games. It's like what Peter Jackson did with The
Yeah.
Hobbit. It's
Oh.
like
And
you
then
got a
The
book
Hunger
that's
Games
about
and
like
Harry Potter.
maybe 180 some odd pages, and you're gonna make it a trilogy of a 3-hour long movies. Like it's unnecessary.
Well, 2 was a long story, and then Brotherhood was just to add in multiplayer with a little bit more story,
Mm.
and then Brotherhood just kind of wrapped, or Revelations just wrapped it up.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed 2 is when they started making Assassin's Creed like a Madden game. They're like, oh, we're gonna change this
We got new grass
texture
physics.
and add this character and.
But
We're
out of
gonna
all
call it
of
a
them,
new
that was
game.
my favorite one. Because it was actually one game when they made a sequel to it, they fucking completely changed it.
Yeah.
And
Two?
made it better, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Number
because
2.
one was like one
It's
to
very
2.
linear. It was
Yeah.
it was one of those tech demo type games. Like,
Mhm.
look at what we can do with this. And it was like, it was an alright game, but it was very bland. And the second
Mhm.
one came out, and I was like, this is what it should have been. And then from there, yeah, like you said, it's went
Yeah.
the same.
Like
path.
yeah, the original Assassin's Creed 2 is amazing. Like it completely worked on what Assassin's Creed 1 put to the table, and they just made it better, like 100% better. But then when they started making like all the spin-offs of Assassin's Creed 2 before they made the third game, that's when they started doing the overkill.
They realized they could stop challenging themselves and still get just as much money as before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they already had their hands in their pockets. So
And well,
like-
Assassin's Creed was like when the last generation was first making its appearance. Assassin's Creed was like ahead of everybody, like showing their tech demos and stuff.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
I was like,
Assassin's
holy
Creed
shit,
1
dude.
was like the broadcast game for the PS3
Oh, yeah.
before it came out. Like I remember
Mhm.
like Ubisoft or yeah, that's who makes Assassin's
Mhm.
Creed, right? They're like, oh, this is gonna be an exclusive for the PlayStation console. This is why you need to buy a PlayStation 3. And like they showed like the scene where he's like standing on the dome in Israel and shit.
Well,
It looked
because-
amazing.
It's because Sony was so fucking full of themselves.
But
on
then
PS2.
again, you look at that video that they first showed, and then you played the game, and then you got Sony because it was just a tech demo, and it wasn't even running off
Are you
the
talking
console
about
when they
Final
showed you.
Fantasy VII, bro? That tech demo.
No, Sony's notorious for their tech demos.
Kills
They
them.
kills them.
You mean
Oh,
their,
yeah.
their awesome cutscenes they show that have
Yeah.
not the gameplay.
This is definitely gameplay. Please buy this game.
Oh wait, it's not. It's not.
Giant enemy crab.
Ridge Racer.
And I'm a Sony fan, mind you.
Alright. That was a tough year to be a fan.
I'm actually a fan to all consoles. Like I do not disrespect on any of the consoles because they all have their own thing going for them. And right now, I think Nintendo's doing their best own thing right now. As far as I'm concerned, and this next generation runs, Nintendo has the best first-party equipment
Well,
going on.
all right. See, I'm kind of like wavering on that. Like, as it currently stands, I would say yes. Nintendo currently has a a better lineup than Xbox and Sony. Of course, these consoles just came out, but the
Mhm.
thing is, what is this, like the second year for Nintendo Wii?
Yeah, this year it would be the second
And
year
they
starting.
literally only have like a small handful of games that beat out everything else. They beat everything else, but it's not that many games.
Yeah. No,
And-
but no, I'm just saying that Xbox One and PS4 aren't going to make as many single-party first exclusive games
Not-
that Nintendo created within that year's time.
Because they're Nintendo products.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the
That's
other
and that's the
problem.
problem with Nintendo is that third-party developers don't develop for them anymore.
Right,
And
so
then
their
when
strength is only from first party.
Yeah, but that's the
Yeah.
beauty of Nintendo because they still make good games in the first-party property.
I wonder if
I
they-
also believe Nintendo has strength in the handheld market also.
Oh,
Well, no,
Nintendo
they're
is
dominating, bro.
dominant.
Godsmack in the hand.
I have a Vita,
Yeah.
but yeah, like I can admit, 3DS is fucking destroying it.
The
It's
3DS is
fucking-
a beautiful console.
It's
Like,
wiping
there's
its ass
so
with
many
the-
great games to be had
and
on the
iOS.
3DS.
Well, I don't know.
Well, the PSP failed, so why would they want to decide, like, hey, let's make another one and just call it a different name? It's literally the same exact
Yeah,
thing.
like Sony made a
It's just a
bad
touch
move
screen.
at doing that PS Vita. Like,
All right.
honestly, like I was
I
a
have a
fan of the
Vita,
PSP, like because of all the cool things you could do with it. Like I played
first
the
version
hell
of
out of my
PSP.
PSP, but
Oh, yeah.
when
I
Sony
swapped
announced
for
that
her.
they were making a PS Vita, like I was like, why? Like I realized how like
It
well
was just too
like,
little too late after
the PSP didn't do well at all. Like I
Well, their
really,
downfall was
me.
at PSP Go, and the
Not
fact
me.
that you could pretty much download every game on the
PSP Go was
It
a
made it
big-
super
big-
easy.
yeah,
missed
PSP got Dreamcasted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the like my argument to support the Vita was when the PSP was dying and stuff. I have two PSP Goes. Well, I think I have two. I don't know if I do anymore. I lent one to somebody.
I still have one.
So like the PSP Go was like their attempt at a digital only market, which was a smart move in the sense that they learned that people don't want a digital market only.
Mhm.
But at the same time, that meant that they weren't making any sales, so it was a horrible step. But when the Vita came out and they showed like dual analog sticks, which is what fucking everyone and their goddamn mother wanted out of a fucking handheld, because
Yes.
there's so many games that would benefit from them.
From day one.
It was a smart move. But the thing
Yeah,
is,
new one.
the Vita came in at too high a price point. No one was fucking buying this shit, and now they've just dropped the price $50, but they don't have the library they need. Like it's a bad console in the sense that there isn't a shit ton of like retail
Yeah.
games or anything, but they've now placed it as the indie. It's sort of like the indie.
Yeah,
fucking-
I see a future in the PS Vita. I just
Yeah.
think at the time when it was released, they
Yeah.
they probably should have waited like a year longer to release the Vita than they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like because the indie games and like the indie market like has been sold pretty hard to Sony because like Microsoft isn't really offering any indie developers like the time and day to put their stuff on Xbox Live
They
anymore.
charge a lot of money for that
So
shit.
the Sony's like the only viable actual home console to put your indie games on besides the Wii U and the 3DS. So the Vita is gonna prevail in like the indie market because honestly, like the Vita is gonna be able to portray some of the indie games that frankly the 3DS can't portray because the graphical power and prowess of the PS Vita is gonna allow that to happen.
Yeah.
The Vita's almost a PS3 and 3DS is almost a PS2.
I'd say it's like
Mhm.
a PS 2.5.
I mean, granted, when the developers do make really good 3D graphics in the 3DS, like they look amazing, like some of the 3D effects.
Yeah,
But it's very few and far in between.
How many games have you played with the 3D on?
I play every game with my 3D on. Like
You
my
are
3D is
rare
always
indeed.
on. It does
I
not
am
bother
not
me in the
that
least.
It's not a
Don't
gimmick
turn it off.
in most every game. I've played games where it's like this, like they didn't even incorporate it correctly to where it's just like it's there in the title screen or something. But in Zelda, it's almost necessary. In certain like Mario Land, like it feels
Yeah.
good with it on.
Yeah, it
Uh,
really throws off your perspective
I mean,
in Mario Land if you turn off
sometimes-
the 3D to me.
Sometimes
I
it
don't
doesn't
agree.
even have
Well,
it on.
I didn't play
function-wise.
Zelda at all with it.
Which are the games you just mentioned too? Nintendo games.
Well, yeah, because they do,
Nintendo's gonna
they
match.
do
no one
Nintendo
else
properly.
Is, no one else is fucking.
Let me
doing
mention
it.
though, Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate looks amazing with the 3D on.
Yes, it does.
That game was done
Yes, it
right.
does. I've got,
Bravo to
like,
Capcom with their
250
3D work
hours
in
in
the
that game.
Monster Hunter Ultimate 3. The game looks good. And it looks pretty decent on the Wii U too, like even though it looks like a PS 2.5 HD game.
Yeah.
But that's another thing the Wii U's got to get out of. It needs us to have the developers stop making these games like that look like that because it's possible to make them look pretty. Like if you look at Assassin's Creed 4 on the Wii U, it's not as good as looking as the Xbox. But
I'm
yeah.
going to say this right now. Handhelds is a dying technology.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
No. I think
I don't see as much of them anymore, dude. Like, you can talk about them all you want.
See,
Everybody and
This
their little
is-
brother owns a 3DS.
Yeah.
Like,
I think
Well, I don't have brothers, so I get that.
I think
I can sit in my house and I'll get street passes all the time.
yeah, I've got numerous street passes just leaving it on the counter here.
I
Like, by
think,
so many
uh,
random people.
Yeah.
I think the typical like what we thought handhelds were originally, because when Nintendo first came out with it, there were Game Boy stuff. In that sense, like Nintendo and Sony being the leaders of the handhelds, that's not the thing anymore. Like iOS and all these other like cell phone games, I think they count as handheld games. It's just their own.
Oh,
Yeah, the handheld
I just
market's
don't think
very
they're
much
very good.
broadened to.
I don't think handheld
tablets
games are going
and-
away anytime soon, but I think that thanks to iOS
It's on the same line as how the Wii was. Like they had good games, and then they had the shovelware.
and like
Well, I just think it's not the same. I
Well,
personally
yeah.
don't like the touchscreen style games.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I-
where a handheld's gonna prevail. Is when
I
you
agree
want to
with
have
you.
that experience, but you want to have it on the go.
I agree with you, but it's like I don't think handhelds going away anytime soon. But they're like iOS has joined the fray and they're in the fight with all.
Yeah, they're
Nintendo and
definitely
Sony.
in there too.
But Nintendo and Sony are still offering something that appeal to people who've been gaming more of their
Yeah.
lives than little fucking.
I'm gonna go with
snot-nosed
iOS
teenagers.
because I can play all GTA's on my iPad, and I'm happy with that.
And there you go.
There you go.
In
See,
HD.
you're the future here.
I am the future. You are the past.
Whether
Alright.
it is a Nintendo or a Sony, there will be a handheld.
All right. Since we're talking about all these game developers and whatnot, do we have our top picks of the games? Top pick of games for 2013. What's up there on the list for you?
2013's it's been a pretty decent year in gaming. It's also been a pretty shitty one, but
For me, it's just another year of blockbuster stuff. It's just forcing you to buy it. But if I had to pick one, I'm gonna go with Arkham.
Arkham Origins. That was that.
I don't care if the gameplay is the same thing as Arkham City. I don't give a shit what people
It's
bitch
still
about
good.
it. The fucking story
Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
the story
is
is
the best out of all of them.
I
I
think-
don't give a shit.
I think the Arkham series has that kind of going for them, where
Yeah.
you can like crank out something that isn't completely different, but as long as it has enough content that isn't exactly like
They-
carbon copy, that you can get away with it.
Yes, that's the thing with Arkham with the like.
It's still fresh, and I
Like-
hope they don't milk this to death.
Yeah,
'cause-
granted, I was talking about Assassin's Creed earlier. However, the stories in Assassin's Creed didn't enthrall me as much as the stories in the Batman games, and that's
You
what
wanna
kept
know
me coming.
Because fucking Batman.
Exactly. You can't fuck with the Batman.
That's the only
Well, the
reason.
thing is, it does suck about it though, because you have whatever Rocksteady's going to decide to do with it, and then now you have Warner Brothers Montreal working on it. So now you're going to have this Call of Duty.
Wait,
Yeah, now we got
split.
this like dual team.
Who owns the franchise though? Like, because I know it's not Rocksteady doesn't own the franchise.
Well,
They're-
WB owns the franchise.
It's WB. kind
WB does, but they have two studios. So Rocksteady can make their own, and then Montreal can make their own. So that's why
Oh, they're
Arkham
about
kind
to Call
of
of Duty
is a
shit,
little
yeah.
different, but in the same world. Whereas the next Arkham game that they're supposed to make
I didn't
for
hear
by
good things
Rocksteady.
about Origins though. Like I heard. Well, I don't know. I didn't hear bad things. I just heard they didn't do like enough.
My thing is, it's everything that people griped about with Halo. When the first one, as generic it was perfect. And 2 came out, and everyone's like, well, you know, why you didn't have to fix something that wasn't broken.
Oh man, I got so many hours in 2.
That's fine, but like that's the thing with Batman. There's nothing that yes, that game needs to go a little forward, but everything's perfect the way that game moves. Combat is perfect. You don't need to change any of it.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah, I feel like Batman when I'm playing the Arkham games. Like,
I don't want to play a game in a series that is completely played differently. Why would I want to play that? It's meant to be played a certain way. That's
Yeah,
why that game
exactly.
works.
Yeah, I understand the argument. Like a lot of games that are like serialized now, they all have their franchises that come out yearly or whatever, and then people are always complaining that it's not different enough. But that doesn't make sense.
yeah, you get 2 different, and you get Resident Evil. Let's
Oh,
take notes on that,
fucking
people.
Jesus.
Resident Evil 6 fucking sucks,
Yeah.
and
5
Resident Evil
was the
5
beginning.
sucks too.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go ahead and
No,
say
4
that.
was the
No.
beginning of that.
No,
Yeah,
no,
4 was
no.
good.
4 was
4
good
was good, but it was
when
at
they
the beginning of
changed
the
it,
demise.
But it was the change that changed the
See,
whole series.
Okay, I played only like a couple hours before, and I really like it. Like it was very different. You're no longer a fucking moving tank with your bullshit
Yeah.
movements.
Mm.
It was different, and of course that throws you off at the beginning. But then it just played really well.
Yeah.
Like it had the ambience and everything.
Because
Fucking Resident
Mikami
Evil-
was still working on it at
Resident
that
Evil
point.
5 was like you're in broad daylight with a fucking mile of terrain to traverse, and then you've got a chain gun. You're like, oh my god, zombies are coming.
Yeah, there's nothing horrific in Resident Evil 5 except for the fact that you're fighting mauled up people and like parasite zombies.
Yeah.
It was
It
the
just-
easiest Resident Evil game they've ever
Yeah,
made.
it was.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
like
because you always have backup.
There was
Yeah.
like really no puzzles in it.
there
No,
was.
And then you
no,
have the co-op, and then it's like,
no,
oh, you're
there
not
was there's some
unstoppable.
shit. Don't
Yeah,
forget the
you get
laser room where you
ammunition.
got.
Oh, the laser
Where
room.
you
Doesn't
tell
really
where you tell your partner to stand up on this ledge while you fucking move mirrors around.
stay there so you don't kill yourself and have to start over.
Don't forget the part where you have to bash the A button and break boulders with Chris's
Oh,
fist.
that was
Not
just
like that
awesome.
was
I'm not gonna lie. When I saw, is like, what is he beating the? Oh, he's beating the shit out of a boulder. What the fuck?
No one complains when they do it to a car in Street Fighter, though. That's okay.
Because you expect that.
Asians.
Come on now. But like Resident Evil 5 was their way down, and then Resident Evil 6, I didn't even beat all of the fucking story modes because they were like 10 hours each, and there's like 4 different chapters, and it's just like I don't give a shit.
I figured the movie franchise had something to do with it.
I played
'Cause
Leon.
It sold so they all sold so well.
Yeah,
Because
the
they
movie
keep coming out.
franchise started the hyper
That's
fighting,
why they keep
like
going out.
awesome
I hope
ultra
not.
HD freaking blast
So
zombies
they
in
get
the
their
face.
quick time events and their like giant global catastrophes.
Yeah, I like 6 was just such a fucking pain in the ass. I played like 2 campaigns and I was like, I'm fucking done.
I
with
played
this.
an hour and I traded it in.
Yeah, I
didn't
think
care much
I
for
didn't
it.
even get through one of the campaigns. Like I got to the middle of Chris's
Oh,
where I was
you didn't-
running up an elevator and
You
there
didn't
were
play
things
Leon's?
falling. And I was just like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Leon's was their fucking bait and switch because in all the trailers and stuff they showed Leon's campaign, which starts off like the first hour or two is like you're conserving ammo, like it's dark everywhere, there's not shit popping out all the time, and you're like, all right, this is fucking Resident Evil. It's quiet, and I'm like freaked out about shit. And then like 2 hours later, you're broad daylight running down hallways, fucking dragon kicking people, and it's like, all right.
Yeah.
But also right now, I think there's a surge of zombie survival horror games that are taking the place of Resident Evil as it used to be.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
think-
but they're trying it
Daisy,
differently.
No, I don't think
The
they're taking the
Deadlinger.
place, but they're taking zombies in a
Yeah.
funner.
We've got
Yeah, like
Funner
with
time.
Telltale's Walking Dead.
well, everything's they're trying to make everything open world now,
Yeah.
and now everything's gonna be like
Well,
State of
that's-
Decay,
That's like the Mystique
which is
in-
probably as goofy and glitchy as it is and buggy. It's probably the best one.
It looks
think.
just the same as Daisy, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like.
But Daisy is all first person, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really liked what I seen with State of Decay. It looks like an interesting game. Like it's a good take on the zombie survival horror.
For being when I first got it on the Xbox Arcade, for as big as that is for an arcade, that's a big game. That
Yeah.
map is pretty big, and I was not expecting that out of an arcade game.
I think I read that they were like on the verge of not being able to release their game because it was too big for the Xbox 360's platform. Because Microsoft has like you can't make games over so many gigs. If you're
Well, it'll
not,
have to be dual disc after that point, but now everything that comes out on the 360 now
No,
that the next gen is Blu-ray,
it was
it's all dual disc.
on their digital platform. If you weren't one of the lead like Activision or something, if you're indie, then you couldn't have like games over a certain like
Mhm.
file size
That's a shame.
and yeah.
And that's probably why that game like was like kind of hard at running itself, like because they had to limit it so much and like kind of tweak out some of the things to make it fit on that platform. I wonder, has anybody tried it on the PC yet?
Which
I have not played it.
Which one?
State of Decay.
Yeah.
I haven't. I haven't played on the PC. I've only played it on the 360, and the 360 is kind of chuggy.
Yeah.
But that's just I got it when it first came out.
Yeah, I also know someone else that bought the State of Decay that really quite enjoyed it despite some of the chugginess, but you get overlooked that because it's a pretty solid new idea to the survival horror zombie franchise.
They pick everything from all the ones that are out and kind of just put it into one game of what it should be.
Yeah, pretty much.
Might be interesting to look it up. I bought Daisy instead of getting that, so I've been.
Would you say that's your game of 2013?
No, the game is still too early. I don't consider it as an official release.
Is it even in like beta
No,
yet?
it's like an alpha.
It's an
right now.
alpha,
Yeah, early access for Steam. Like they have a
$30 alpha game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's,
That's a hefty
I don't
price
even
for an
consider
alpha.
that a 2013 game because
No,
of that.
yeah.
Yeah, it's honestly not finished enough to even like throw a rating to the game yet. because
That
it's-
and they just did
so
early
bare
access
bones.
like
You can have
2 or
general
3 weeks
like
before the end of the year.
expectations though, because it started as a mod, and I think they're trying to recapture the mod.
Yeah,
first
it was
and
our
foremost,
mod, 2 mod.
and then from there they'll take it like into better places.
It has
Yeah.
potential.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it's
I
gonna
haven't
be a
played it
good.
yet. I haven't played like the mod or the standalone yet.
Yeah, I never
But I
played
want
the
it.
2 mod.
I got roped into buying that fucking shitty the War Z.
Oh
With a
god,
friend
you
of
got
mine?
that before they took it off Steam? That game was a lie.
God, I know.
That
Like,
game was just like you put your hand in your wallet. That was it.
No.
Like, you die. You gotta pay $5 to
you
come
take a 20 out. And
Oh, you need some
burn that
food?
bitch.
You gotta pay me $2.50.
I believe that is what you had to do to pay for the game. You took a 20 out and you just set it to fire.
Yeah, you
And
might as
they're
well like
"Here-
turn your PC
here's
into
your
like
fucking
ATM just for like the War Z people.
Here's your game.
Like,
So yeah.
that was fake.
So I bought that shit just because like I had 3 or 4 friends who were like, yeah, dude, this is gonna be tight until the DayZ comes out, and then it got fucking nuked, and like I don't even know if it's a game anymore. Does it still exist?
It shouldn't.
Because
It should not exist.
I think I still have an icon on my computer somewhere, but I don't want to look at it.
Oh god.
So you don't have a game of 2013, Austin?
I'd probably say either Metro Last Light or Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds would be my favorite
Ooh.
main game from 2013. Indie game, I'd probably have to say. I mean, I just got Starbound. That's a really early game right now, so. Unfinished Swan was probably my favorite indie game.
I still want to play Starbound. Like I put some good hours in it, Terraria. Like I've got like 100 or so on the PC, and then I've got like 20 on the console version.
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh yeah, they finally released Terraria for the Sony, right?
PS3 and Vita.
Nice.
Yeah.
So like, I saw a lot of videos on Starbound. It looks pretty sick.
Starbound's fun.
It
Starbound's
is awesome.
definitely my favorite indie game
But-
that's still in development of 2013. Because
Yeah.
it's not yet a finished game as well. It should be coming out, speculated sometime in January for the full release, so
Like,
maybe the indie game in 2014.
I had
Yeah.
fun with the game, but at the same time, it feels like Minecraft, and I don't like Minecraft because I'm just going around smacking squares until I get bored.
I'm gonna be the only negative Nancy, and I'm gonna say that game is fucking poo poo, man.
The thing I like about that game though is it kind of gives you something to go
It-
for. with
alright,
the
like,
bosses.
They
that you gotta-
don't explain
not-
anything in the quest.
I'm not gonna say
No,
it's
yeah,
poo
there's
poo.
no.
This is true.
I'm not gonna give it the
That's what
poo-poo
kills me.
awards, but
That's what kills. If you're gonna make a game that's based off a questing system, and all you do is just highlight what you need to make, but it doesn't tell you how to do it.
In their defense, though, it's not
True.
finished
Not
yet.
interested.
It's still in beta.
Yeah,
They
sure.
said that the quest is not.
I don't care if
they
it's
only
in
have
beta.
one quest in the game, and that's the intro quest. And they haven't scripted any of it yet.
Yeah, and it
besides
only
the
has like
fact-
5
It does-
actual points.
It,
Yeah.
like it does suck when you buy a game and you have to like Google how the fuck to play it or
Yeah.
like what you need to do. That sounds like a bad element in the game.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
play it
what
when
you
it's
get
ready.
into when you get the yeah exactly.
I'm not gonna put time into a character when they update the game and it erases all your stuff. Not worth my time.
Well, that's the beauty of that. At least
Yeah,
the early
I
access
said
games,
about
they tell you that it's an early access game, and you whether you choose to buy it and play it or not before it's actually released, that's on you.
Okay.
So that's the best part about the early access. Same like that's why I haven't played DayZ yet because it's too early access.
I'm still having fun playing the game.
Yeah, like, it looks like a fun game. Don't get me
It's
wrong.
really rough, but it's still
I'm
fun.
gonna wait till it gets at least in beta.
Terraria is up there with, and that type of game is up there with The Sims to me. Like I play it for an hour, I have fun fucking around, but then I'm done.
Yeah, I perfectly understand that. Like, it's definitely not a game for everyone. You have to like, it's a special experience depending on like how you want to.
I think it's very good for creative minds,
yeah,
where
if
you get to
Yeah.
fuck around and make whatever.
There are a
the
lot of
bullshit
people
you
that
like.
do build these crazy elaborate castles and all kinds of crap.
I was never into that. Like when people were all Minecrafting and everything, I'm like, I want to play a game. Like, don't put me into a thing and like, hey, make your own fun. Like, I paid you. Show me like it's a good time. Don't like here's some building blocks, Jimmy. Like come
When
on,
I
make
saw a
might as well go
full
back and
scale
fucking
of the
like this.
9 realms from Game of Thrones that was completely built in Minecraft, I said that's the game I don't want to play because that ruined it for me right there. So there's someone out there, well, a group of people that were able to
Yeah,
do
they
that,
did
and I'm
that.
gonna here's my crappy little box house that I made as you made an entire fucking world that you
Imagine
can
the
walk.
amount of time
it's
that
like-
person put into
It's
that.
Minecraft
Well, there was
is
a group
like
of
the.
But it's just one of those things that it's just like that stuff like that. It's overkill, and that's not for me. It's too
Yeah, I
hardcore.
understand
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll never go that
Josh,
far
what are
into
your top games of 2013, man?
Top games of 2013. Honestly, I'm gonna have to be shameful and say that my top console game for 2013 was definitely Grand Theft Auto 5. It did not disappoint in any way at all.
We're not talking about that.
No.
it. I It
We talked
was on
enough
my
about
list
that
for
last
top,
time.
but I also have some grievances.
It
with
is
that game.
not on my list of anything.
I think we
because
talked
it's
about
Grand
that
Theft
enough.
Auto.
I think that's overhyped.
It was overhyped, but it was very good, and it was the only console game I played this year.
Oh, well,
Oh,
there-
Honestly, there was nothing else on the console.
that's
that I
on your
cared about.
part. But Grand
It
Theft
was on
Auto
PC.
falls into its own niche of it's fucking Grand Theft Auto. It's the same. Like
They
you're
do
always
make
gonna
improvements.
enjoy being in that game. You're always gonna do the same bullshit. It's just another Grand Theft Auto. And
I do
it's
have
just,
a funny thing
it's
for
just
one of the
boring.
games I actually finally beat on the console this year, which was Red Dead Redemption.
Hmm.
Alright, so
Red Dead Redemption
what about
and
PC?
Just Cause 2.
dude, do you have
Catch
that on
up.
PC? Do you have that on PC? You can get that fucking
Multiplayer?
multiplayer mod.
Yeah,
dude.
that's
no,
that's
I
how
was-
bleak
as soon
of a
as I
year
knew
for
that, I was
console
like, no.
was. That's how bleak of a year for console was for me. That I have to pick Grand Theft Auto to be my top console game because there's nothing for the console for me to play.
Mhm.
I didn't care. The next gen hype didn't get me. They don't have any good first party games. I mean, Super
No,
Mario
not
World, like
Oh fuck the Wii, dude.
that was a cool
I'm tired of
game.
Mario. What, you run and jump, bro.
See,
you do
that's-
that all the
How many
time.
games are in that
Archaic.
franchise?
There's probably
20,
like 30, 40.
It's not that it's a
40.
bad
Oh,
game.
jeez.
It's just literally, it's just the same thing you've been doing since Mario 64.
Mm-hmm.
But it's
just-
really not.
but
They
it's still
they
good.
find ways to like make it new and fresh every time.
It is
Yeah,
fun, yeah.
cut
Like
paint,
either new
that's-
power ups. I mean, there's
They have,
always.
the level design is just amazing. Like the artistic value in the worlds of Mario is just like stellar compared to some platformer games that you play.
Oh, yeah.
It's just I don't know.
So your picks are.
But my favorite handheld game was definitely like Between Worlds. That was probably the best Zelda game that I've played in over a decade.
Yes.
Loved it. I thought
There
it was
was
a really good.
Everything
rendition of,
perfect there
Zelda.
is to have about a Zelda game was in that game. Like it was like the perfect fanboy dream for a Zelda game. I'd have to say, like, if you're a fan of like the Super Nintendo Zelda, you definitely have to pick up
No,
Link
Link to the
Between
Past
Worlds.
is like.
Yeah.
Like,
That's the one that ties into that story, right?
Yeah,
See, that one I'll play.
It's a direct sequel to
Yeah.
Link to the Past, so
Yeah.
it's really cool to play
Well,
that game.
direct sequel in a sense that it's in the
yeah,
same
direct
world,
sequel centuries away.
But yeah, you actually do get to fight original Link.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But they
not,
hi-
they
not-
hide it
not
from
main
you.
story, but
They
it's
hide it
possible.
from you, but you get to fight original Link.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
And then for the PC game of the year, I'd have to say it's gonna be an indie game for me, like, because that's all I really played this year. Out of
That's fine, bro.
new content. I'm gonna say it's Stanley Parable because the story was just so enthralling for me. Like I laughed. The script was hilarious in that game, and it was a great adventure for me. Like I
do
played it
wanna play that.
numerous times, like almost every possible way I could possibly think of.
It seems like that.
And I just kept coming back to. I still like I like to have friends like play it every once in a while. Like if they have no idea what the game's about, because it's kind of fun to fuck with them.
It's not. It's not complicated or anything, is it?
Yeah.
It's just like
No,
a
it's
point and click.
But like when you show that to someone that doesn't know what it is, and like they play it, and like they just like don't understand what's going on because they don't want to like break what the narrator's saying. It's just kind of fun to see how many times they're gonna follow what the narrator has to say. Like I literally watched one person play through the same playthrough 10 times in a row because he didn't understand that he could break away from what the narrator was
I
saying.
think it's a good way to see what kind of gamer people are.
I was like, wow. But that game brought me the most joy on the PC out of fresh new material for 2013.
Mr. I don't remember what the fuck your name is. Shades McGee or something.
That's close enough.
All right. Do you have any favorites of this year?
Well, as console, Last of Us was real magic for me. Like I kind of stepped away from playing console games, and then they're like, "Oh man, BioShock Infinite and Last of Us, you gotta play these." I'm like, "All right, well, I mean, Last of Us is a console exclusive, so I guess that's something interesting." So, and I always liked Naughty Dog, and that was, it wasn't completely original, but like the gameplay and the story was really interesting. How you just really had to, item management and take care of your inventory, and you actually had a competent
Partner.
AI partner, which is really nice, and it felt really like visceral. And next thing you know, you're just like sitting there going through a segment that shouldn't take you that long, but then you're just trying to be so careful to not waste all your shivs, and it was something special.
See, as the probably only other person here who played that game, like
No, I played it.
you played it. All right.
I
Well,
The
didn't
Last of
finish
Us?
it.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
The story was getting good for me, but it was the gameplay that was boring me.
I really want to try it.
Well, see, I've seen lots of things where people are kind of giving it like negative marks because they were depressed playing the game. But
I was
like
depressed.
That's just good
It makes
storytelling.
me sad.
that's an element. Like if a game can make you feel bad without being like crass and fucking stupid about it, then it's a good.
That's what makes it a good story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's good writing. And
Yeah,
the
it's a
writer
good
did
story.
their job right. Thank you.
So there's a lot of people who are like, oh, I was so
That was-
bummed playing that game, like, cause it's a good fucking game that made you care about people and
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Like the very first segment, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but like shit, dude,
The
Yeah,
introduction.
like the first hour and a half of that game is pretty
It was
like
fucking
whoa.
yeah.
Like
Dude.
you see some shit. Like you understand why the main character is the way he is. In
Yeah.
the first hour and a
Right.
half of that game.
like fuck, that was
Like-
awesome. I was just like, holy.
That was
fuck,
probably like the
crap.
fastest, craziest like beginning to a game I've ever played.
Mm.
Honestly, like I didn't play through the game in its entirety, but the beginning definitely sticks with me. I remember the beginning
The
quite
beginning to me was like an ending to a game.
Well. Yeah,
It was
right.
like- Just this
It was- yeah, it was
whole
like
shit happening. You're like,
Yeah.
dude, what else is gonna happen in this game? But like, I just couldn't get through the gameplay. It's just the stealth just took way too long for
Yeah,
me.
it
I
does
think-
have to get you to really get down and crawl and like
Yeah.
Well, I
not,
think-
not play the way other games. Just like aim for his head.
The game wasn't for, like very. It didn't cater to a lot of people. Like this was a fucking stealth game down packed. Like you're not doing anything else besides that because there's so many moments, and then they don't show you a lot. There's so many moments where you're kind of like going through an area and you have to be fucking quiet, and sometimes you have to walk right in front of a fucking enemy or something, and you don't know how far this guy can see, and it's just like, all right, here's a room full of 10 dudes, get through it, and you're like, shit, and you got to sneak through, and then one hit kill, fuck,
Yeah.
one hit kill again. How am I getting through this? One hit
That-
kill. I'm getting tired of this shit. One hit kill. I'm done. It's like the game did not like hold your hand at any point. And
Yeah.
although that was really difficult, like I think I enjoyed that part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like the way that they chose to approach the stealth aspect of the game, because they did like literally like let you look at a room and like figure it out.
No, they gave you
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
room with a fucking story.
Like it wasn't like say
This-
Metal Gear Solid 4 where you go into a room and something flashes like, oh, I got to go into that vent and
Yeah.
you won't see me there. Like there was nothing really obvious in The Last of Us. It was just like a real room. Like the way they did the graphic style in that game, like the art direction was amazing because everything looked so rustic and it just fit into the world.
It felt
Yeah,
like
and then you finally get into a forest or like green shows up and it's just like the greenest green you've ever seen.
you get into a house and it feels like this was a house that got evacuated, and you can almost piece together the type of shit that happens just by seeing how everything's knocked over and whatnot. And there's actually there's certain elements of the story that you can actually miss playing it because of the way they made it. Like when you're with Ellie and whatnot, and you run into these other group of survivors, and you go through this toy store, right? There's this kid who he wants to pick up a toy, but then the dude he's with is like, no, we only take what you need, and he tries to they're like, all right, and they fucking bolt out. And then as the main character, you pretty much feel like, all right, I need to follow them because that's how you play a fucking game. And if you look at Ellie, she's standing where the boy dropped the toy. But the thing is, if your character is standing too close to her, nothing will happen. If you get close to the door and you have your main character face the door and you look over at her, she picks up the toy and puts it in her backpack and she gives it to him later. And it's a whole lot of shit that, they're trusting that if you care enough about this stuff, you'll pick up on all these things that no one else will.
Yeah. There's all kinds of little goodies you can
So-
find within that game.
so it's
Little
not-
bonding moments.
But it's not like you don't feel like shit. I missed out because I didn't see this. You
yeah,
feel
they're
like
just so subtle.
you
Like
feel like if you caught this, you're like, oh shit, I'm lucky. I fucking caught this.
it's
And
more like an
yeah.
artistic appreciation, like looking deeper into the game
Yeah.
itself.
So the game did a lot of things I really enjoyed. That is going to be hard to sell to a mainstream audience, I think.
But I wouldn't say that was game of the year because I mean even for a
I think that was
handheld,
the story.
Link Between Worlds was just because I never got into Link to the Past as much as I should have. I didn't really beat it or anything, but that was I like Josh said, I hadn't played a good Zelda game like that in a long time, and for a sequel too, like to be in that same world where it feels so familiar yet it introduces so many differences. I really love Majora's Mask, and just as much as it was so relative to Ocarina of Time, like the Zelda formula can be similar, and yet they change enough of it to where it just doesn't feel like you've been there before.
All right, I will wrap my shit up as quick as I can. I would say my top game is actually The Last of Us, because it did things that were new and different and more risk taking than most games. Zelda is really fun. It's a good game, but the thing is, it just feels like a formula I've been expecting from Zelda all the time. So it doesn't feel like something new. It just feels like this is what the fuck I've wanted already, because I've gotten this, I guess, when I was younger from an earlier game. Like, I had a shit ton of fun with Link to the Past, and it was like, this is an awesome game. And then a whole bunch, like, Ocarina of Time came out, and it was like, this is a sweet fucking game. And then it was just a bunch of shitty fucking Zeldas, and then Link Between Worlds was more of like, all right, they finally got it right and went back to what people wanted, and then they put it in the game. It's like, all right, it's good, it's really good, but it's like, this is what I've wanted from the beginning. This is not a surprise to me. And The Last of Us was like, fuck, I didn't know what I was getting into. This surprised me left and right. I was thinking I can just take some typical fucking gamer, like, all right, I need to get here. Let me just fucking, weave my way through. But oh shit, it's a lot more difficult than I thought.
Yeah.
It took a lot more risks to me, and I think I appreciate that more than Link Between Worlds.
Yeah, they definitely did take a lot more liberties in The Last of Us and new ways to approach a game than Nintendo never takes liberties at making anything
that's
new.
the fucking problem.
But what they do it so well, and no one else can replicate what they do.
Yeah,
that's why they're so great. That's why Nintendo needs to be bought out by.
It's also
Nintendo
why,
needs to become a third-party developer.
Yeah.
Like, if Nintendo made third-party games, they would be relevant again.
They would
Everybody
dominate
would
the scene.
buy them.
If they release
Because
all their
other
Game Boy
people can
Advance
handle
games,
the
they'll use.
hardware, but their first-party
Yeah.
games are almost untouchable.
Like, it's almost selfish of Nintendo to like keep making consoles for themselves, because the only good games that come out on Nintendo consoles are Nintendo games.
But the only people who are going to buy them are people in Japan, because no one's buying Xboxes over there. Like, it's mainly Nintendo.
No, but
Sony.
if Nintendo became a third-party developer, everyone would buy Nintendo games.
Yes.
Like, I guarantee that.
If
Like,
Nintendo
I
took
wouldn't.
a-
the only you wouldn't, but everyone else.
I'll buy
would.
Zelda if they make a good one,
No,
but Mario,
that's it,
it's
yeah.
arcade.
Do you know how many other people would buy Mario though? Like, you know how popular that game is? Like, I don't care what you say about it, what you think about Mario. Mario is a freaking cash cow. If Mario was on every console, people would buy it. People wouldn't let Mario go.
I'm not shutting
the last
down
good
the
song?
popularity of these games, though. It's like every game they do it well, but it all feels like such a magnificent vanilla game that I'm like, personally, I don't find much interest in it. It's like, okay, I know what I'm going to get from a Mario game. It's going to be this, hey, Wonder and Joy, I get a new outfit. Hey, I'm a fucking cat that can climb. Oh, sweet. And I know my voice doesn't portray it, but if I played the game, I'd probably be having a lot of fun with it. But
Yeah, I had so many
Like-
hours of fun with the new Mario game. Like,
oh yeah.
like it's not challenging anything.
Yeah.
It's not doing anything.
Actually, it can
creative.
be challenging if you decide to do all of the actual things
You
you
can
do in the
make
game.
stage challenges, yeah, but
Well,
the
it's
thing is,
not just like the
they're not
stage
taking.
challenge. Like talking about collecting all the
red
extra
stars,
stars,
yeah.
like doing all the flagpole challenges,
That's
doing all
that's
the
not
extra
enough to
bonus
me.
stuff.
Like, just in-game challenges aren't like.
Like-
I want to see something with story evolve. Like,
Like,
you know,
Well, you're
I wanna
asking
see
the wrong
worlds.
to me,
character.
Mario.
I'm not asking Nintendo at all, which is what I'm saying.
Like, what I find out of these games is like the microplay. Like, I don't like to sit down with games for more than like 30 minutes at a time. So I could sit there and put on a Mario game and enjoy myself for like 15 to 10 minutes and then go on with life.
well,
like-
yeah, all right. That
Like, there's like when I want to sit down and actually enjoy like a full-fledged game, like I'm gonna turn on my PC and play a game.
that's
But when
how
I want
feel
to just
with
like
Nintendo.
micro game real quick, I'm gonna put on Mario. Like, I'm gonna put on The Legend of Zelda and just like play it for like 30 minutes, and I'm gonna turn it off, and I'm gonna leave with a good time, and then go do something else.
Well, I would just say then my experience is I don't want that micro experience
Mhm.
as often as you do, because that's all Nintendo does really. They do it what like
And that's
fucking-
why they need to become a third-party developer.
They do it
so
better
they
than
can
us.
do it for everybody,
if
as
Nintendo
opposed to
released
just trying to sell their own console for
If
that experience.
Nintendo released their fucking like Super Nintendo, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy all on iOS or something, they would be bigger
Oh,
than
God.
Apple. They would be bigger than Apple.
Yeah, if Nintendo
Well, you
released,
can technically, you just have
Yeah,
to
you have
jailbreak
to-
Well,
your
I mean,
thing, but-
legally, they'd be raking in money. They're not making money off of emulators.
yeah,
right
if
now,
Nintendo actually released their like virtual console library for iOS and like Apple, or yeah, that is Apple, but like iOS and Android OS, like they would make so much money in microtransactions if they had like say Super Mario World on the Android and iOS operating systems.
But what do you think they would charge for it, though?
$7?
That's way too much.
Yeah.
For an old game like that?
Yeah.
Dude,
People get away with murder. Like,
That's the interesting thing about the.
I've seen things
That
being
is true.
charged
If
way more.
If they can
People
charge
will pay.
$5 or $5 or $6 for the GTA's on the iOS,
Isn't it $10 per
Then-
Final Fantasy game? And
yeah,
people
that's
are
a different
eating that
story
shit
though.
up.
Yeah,
But,
but
like-
Grand Theft Auto
Yeah.
is $5.
Yeah,
That's it.
but
For what that game is for $5, if I'm gonna get like, let's say Super Mario World, if it ever came out on iOS, 99 cents. I'm sorry, it's a 99-cent game. There's games on there that are bigger than that.
But you know how many people would buy it for $7?
Dude, if
lot.
Square
There's
Enix,
I
so
know,
many
I know.
people.
Or even
Like,
$5.
I understand your argument. Like
That's too much.
when you get like this massive game like San Andreas and it only costs $4 and you're Nintendo's asking $7 for Super Mario World, I see your frustration
Well,
there.
see, I see like
That's
your frustration. The thing is, if Square Enix can get away with charging $10 per fucking game, and Square Enix has made mobile games about a third of their development team, like a third of them now are dedicated to mobile games, and they're profiting heavily off.
Well, that's also because they have
Well, the
the
thing
Japanese
is that Nintendo can drop a Mario game and easily fucking trump like Square Enix, because Square Enix already has shit all over their fucking name because they've been doing nothing but garbage. And if Nintendo came out and did it, then they would rule. They would dominate the fucking market.
It's been a long time since Square Enix did something really strong.
Yeah,
Whoa,
it has been.
whoa, 13-2?
Go.
Oh.
Yeah.
Go.
I think ugh.
All right.
If I can add in one thing,
Yes.
one game I bought it off Steam. If a game that I like that can change my opinion about how it's supposed to be played is Rising Storm, the Red Orchestra 2. I hate tactical shooters.
Mhm.
It's an old dying concept now, but that game is fucking fun. If you want a humble experience playing online with people, especially a shooter that is all realism, and you get killed by your own team, expect a crap ton of apologies coming your direction. There's not like, oh, well, you're a fucking idiot, you're in the way kind of remark that you hear. People will be like, oh, dude, I'm so sorry, that was an accident. Like, this is the most humble community ever.
Honestly, that's why I stay away from first-person shooters,
they're all
competitive, because I'm just like when I go on there, it's just like
It's one of those
Wow,
games you
like,
can't get
that's
pissed though
most
when you get
competitive.
killed by
Yeah.
somebody because it's a
Yeah.
realism experience. You get shot one time, you're done.
yeah.
You're
Yeah.
done.
That's most online.
See, I would
most
like-
online communities are toxic.
I would love to play a first-person shooter with the humble community, so I might actually try this
I'll
Rising
probably-
Storm.
Well, see, I bought because on the
Probably
Steam
weak.
sale it was $5. I know it's
Yeah.
more now, but
Mm.
and it's one. I'm gonna say it's a bigger company, but I will say they're kind of indie in a
Yeah.
sense because they cater to their fans. Whereas like the 2 Call of Duties that come out each year, they charge you $50 for a fucking season pass.
Yeah, these guys give you the maps for
Call of
free,
Duty
right?
games.
They
are
give you the
essentially-
maps for free in Rising. Well, Rising Storm is the new expansion for
Mhm.
Red Orchestra 2. But what they do with that is they give you updated maps from all the old ones included
Oh,
with
see,
it.
that's beautiful. Like,
So that you have just this plethora of like World War II maps.
Yeah.
That's what's so great about that
Call
game.
of Duty is essentially a
And I
map
know-
pack every year.
God, it's shameful how much they charge for freaking map
$15
packs
for
and like
DLC, and then the
said
whole
Call
game.
of Duties and like said Battlefield.
Well, it's like Battlefield. I won't buy the season pass until that game is completely fixed.
oh yeah, Battlefield.
And one of the DLC packs in season pass was 2 maps from Battlefield 3. Why would I want to pay for that?
Let's talk about Battlefield. That was one of the most rocky launches ever.
It
for
wasn't
a-
rocky. It just
Oh, it's pretty rocky.
it was rocky if you bought it on the PS3 and the Xbox 360.
I heard
That's the same thing.
pretty opposite opinions for people that bought it on the PC. It was fairly unplayable.
All right. Let's get off of our top games.
Fuck you.
Dark Horse is losing Star Wars franchise.
Do we really have to talk about this?
That was obvious.
Hey,
It's not a bad
It was
thing.
It is true.
obvious.
Put on
It
the
is a
list.
bad thing.
Is
because
anyone surprised?
No one's surprised here,
I'm
but
stepping back from
it's
this
a
one.
bad thing because you know they're not going to keep the continuity that Dark Horse established. And Dark Horse established this great Star Wars continuity for over 20 years
Well,
now.
of course. You
And
think they're going to change storylines?
Oh, definitely. I know for a fact that Disney's going to take the liberties and make their own storylines. They're not going to keep what Dark Horse set in the stone.
I don't care if they change the storylines as long as I am entertained with what I
So
see.
you're not going to be that entertained by it, I guarantee you.
But it's not Disney making the new books though. That's the
Marvel.
problem. It's Marvel.
Yeah, it was Marvel, but
It's just Disney owns
Marvel
that
in the
property.
past sucked
Wait,
ass at making Star
Marvel's
Wars.
making
but
Star
I don't
Wars?
think
Yeah.
it could be such a bad thing. It's not like Marvel is on puppet strings from Disney. You know.
And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, but I'm saying that Marvel had their chance to make Star Wars books in the past before Dark Horse got the rights, and Marvel did drop the ball on Star Wars pretty damn hard.
Here's
Should
the
I give
thing
them
that
another
is
chance?
the only way, if you want to keep your continuity and all that stuff, it's a comic book world. Writers can go wherever they want. They're not contracted by all these people.
Yeah, I know that.
And a
but-
lot of the big time good stories are one-off writers that come in, throw in like 1 or 2 issues here and there. So they can go over to Marvel all they want.
Yeah, but
Granted,
like-
it will probably kill Dark Horse because that's their biggest thing.
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
talking
But-
about like the grandeur of the entire like universe that Dark Horse set up. It's just gonna be rubble now. Like it's gonna be a different era.
So
It's
is
like
there,
moving
like-
into a tangent time, like
Is
Earth
there, like,
1,
an
Earth 2.
ongoing series that Dark Horse has created that
There's
is getting cut short?
a universe that pertains to
The extended universe. Like
the original Star Wars extended universe, whereas with what Disney is trying to make with the new one, where it's not going to have anything to do with the original episode 7, 8, and 9 books. I'm sure there'll be pulls from all of that, but I don't know. I never not read, but I didn't really get into Star Wars comics, so I don't really care
I'm a
as
huge
much.
fan of the Star Wars comics, and I'm just very upset that I know, like, unless Marvel does his job and like keeps, maybe they won't scrap all the continuity of the universe that Dark Horse established. But if that happens, then I'll be all for it, because I know there's some fantastic writers for Marvel. But as it stands, I'm fairly certain that Disney and Marvel will scrap all the continuity that Dark Horse established, and that's just very upsetting.
That all
because-
comes down to if the only way they would probably keep that continuity is if they completely bought out Dark Horse, because I think those writers, that's for their
Yeah.
side on Dark Horse. I don't think Disney can just walk in and be like, well, it's ours now. We can do with what your universe as we please.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work. I
Like-
mean, it's Star Wars, man. Like, really, who cares? Like, I mean,
A lot of people care though.
I know a lot of
Sure,
people
a lot.
care, but even the people who really care also hate it too, because it's not as good as what it used to be.
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
I know
that's what
Dark Horse is
was
keeping
like.
it alive,
Yeah,
but it's
exactly.
not. It's Star Wars.
Yeah, it's
We'll see.
It's a
We'll
great
see.
universe, and like if Marvel does it right and like they do the comic books justice and like have amazing illustrators and painters do the work of the panels and have amazing writers keep writing it, then I will be impressed with the Marvel universe of Star Wars. But I'm just really scared for the future of Star Wars comic books. That's all I'm saying.
I lost interest in Star Wars. I love Samuel Jackson, but I'm sorry, he's not a Jedi, dude.
Well, I mean,
Oh, dog.
episodes 1, 2, and 3 were rough, man. But,
Two,
like,
Yeah,
two is my
they
favorite,
were.
but it's just I can't watch those movies and picture how does this tie to this with this
yeah, exactly.
character. It's Samuel Jackson playing Samuel Jackson. Like
That's
there's,
how he's always been.
I know it's how it's always
Yeah,
been, but
they
like those
should've-
characters, they play things that make you
Well,
believe
yeah,
like this is who
too.
this is.
They shouldn't have chose a typecasted actor to play the
Yeah,
Jedi
that
leader.
was a really
That was
out
a
of there.
bad
Like, you see him in
mistake.
episode 1 and you're like, hey, but what? Why?
It's one of those movies that they should have stuck with no name characters.
Mhm.
Don't
Yeah.
throw in all these big, high rolling actors and stuff
Mhm.
like that. Like, I mean, the biggest one in there is probably Natalie Portman besides Samuel Jackson
Yeah,
after
yeah.
that. And I like the old style, like it was an original thing with these people. I mean, Harrison Ford was probably the bigger name out of all of it, but
Yeah,
Yeah, but I
at the
think
time.
he kind of like grew his name from that.
Yeah, he became something.
whatever. Jack Ryan. He's Jack Ryan.
All right. So, I don't think we have much else to say about what Dark Horse and Star Wars are doing together. What about our movies? 2013.
Worst or best?
Pick and choose, because
You go the other direction. It's going to take me time to think about this one.
I'm not huge on this.
I'd say worst was Evil Dead. It was a great disappointment. I loved
Really?
the first one.
Didn't
Wait,
watch it.
I expected so much from the remake, and I people had said like, oh, there's going to be Bruce Campbell in there, and then he was just a little spot at the end credits, like the whole thing, like
Okay.
the girl pulls her hand off. That was like a chainsaw, but then it wasn't even. It was just such a letdown.
I didn't watch it.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was good.
Wait, was it even in the same vein as the original Evil Dead, or
It was a homage to
Yeah.
the original.
Yeah, yeah.
It
Was
was
it a
basically
homage?
turning. It was taking Ash as the character and splitting him into a male and a female,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it played off both parts in the movie. Like they kind of split him off. It was an all right movie. It was. You gotta understand, Evil Dead is a it's not a horror, it's a comedy.
Yeah,
it's
no,
a freaking grindhouse comedy.
That's
I mean,
that's not what the remake tried
No,
to be.
yeah.
No,
oh, I laughed hysterically.
Oh,
at that
the
entire
remake
movie.
was
That was
hilarious.
funny.
Yeah.
But let me say this. The first Evil Dead that was made with Sam Raimi, honestly, it was a horror movie. They didn't. It was hilarious, like to us, because it's just so dated and terrible.
It's
But
such a low budget.
he tried to make it a horror movie, and that's what this Evil Dead tried to do. But they kept the comedy, and like they did so good at. They did so good at throwing in
You
references.
can eat that
and-
taco, Austin. You can eat that taco.
For the Evil Dead, I believe they did.
Way to go! Way to go!
That was like as everyone's sleeping in the house and he's trying to go put his hand in the bag of potato chips without making any noise.
He
Austin
just keeps eating.
He's so
Oh my
worried
God.
about making too much noise with that taco that he literally put it back down. Austin, grab the goddamn taco. We're talking about Evil Dead.
All I wanted was a fucking bite. I didn't mean to interrupt the whole damn thing.
You know when you move it slower, it makes more noise,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, don't be slow about it.
Rustle the bag, mess with the paper.
I wasn't even trying to
Okay,
sell.
okay.
I wasn't even having emotions to eat a taco.
So the reason why I didn't go to see this Evil Dead is because I think they promoted it really well as like a horror movie. Like they all in the trailers, all they showed was like as horror as they could get, and then the bitch licking the fucking razor blade. Like ugh, that threw me off.
Yeah,
But
there's nothing campy about it.
They marketed it like they were trying to be a really scary horror movie, and that's why I didn't want to go see it, because when I remember watching The Evil Dead, I was fucking just laughing at everything. It was more of like a funny action movie than it was a horror movie to me.
I think honestly the Evil Dead remake really is dependent on how hardcore of an Evil Dead fan you really are.
That's what it comes down
Yeah,
to.
if you could, like, because I picked out every reference ever that they threw
Mhm.
into the Evil Dead movie, and
The
it was
car
fucking
was there.
spectacular. Like for instance, when she drops the necklace and the way it falls, it's the same pattern that it falls in Evil Dead 2
Oh,
when
what?
she drops the necklace.
Oh, nice.
Like shit like that. It was so spot on with like certain references and like just how they did things. I thought it was like and like if you know the Evil Dead universe, you know it has to do with time travel. And at the very end, they give you that thought in your head that this might be connected to the regular Evil Dead series. This might just be a different dimension that Ash got himself into on accident.
But you're also a really big fan of the original Evil
Yeah.
Dead.
I-
You
Oh,
don't
yeah.
follow it all that much.
Yeah, I've only seen the first one, and I was just let down from what I was
Mhm.
expecting and everything that they were, hyping about. But anyway, favorite superhero movie, Man of Steel.
I missed it. I really wish.
I
It's because we got General Zod sitting over here right
Yeah.
now.
I will find him.
I thought that just bullet points that his origin story, like it wasn't boring. Like he was a good Superman. It was a good starting villain because they didn't. It was good that they didn't do Lex Luthor to start off. Like he was a good villain to just like have a fist fight with. Nothing too thought provoking to bring fans in at first. I mean, it was a good outfit and like good how like his one dad on Krypton and his other dad on Earth. Like it was just a balance of how his moral compass is going to be, and then a great fight scene at the end, and just great special effects, and then tie into the next one. Like I hope so.
Here's
Well,
my
that's good.
thing as a Superman fan. I appreciated that movie for the story because it followed to Birthright a little bit. It's still not the Superman movie that I wanted. Yes, there's action, a little too much. I'm sorry, but I understand the machine destroys a city. He didn't need to go off and destroy the rest of it in the fight.
See,
You know what I'm saying? Like I understand. I get it's the
Jeez.
building to that character. He's not fully him. He's like he has these powers. He knows what he can do, but he's got to understand what his limits are. People can grab about him breaking his neck at the end. I understand where that comes in, but you got to understand that it's supposed to be an emotional movie.
Yeah.
Like
He's not Batman. It's not like he loses himself if he kills anybody ever. He got into a situation to
he's
where
killed many people.
Zod couldn't be.
The problem.
Here's my argument to this: if people are going to grant that he broke his neck at the end of the movie. Clearly, they've never seen Superman 2 when he throws Zod into an abyss. At the end of he breaks his hand and throws him in an abyss into the fortress forever.
After knowing
No one
he
cares
takes
about
Zod,
that.
Yeah.
Oh, and he rapes Lois Lane.
Exactly.
If you want to
Yeah, he
follow the
does.
continuity to
Yeah.
return.
Yeah,
to
she has
number
no
2.
recollection of him sleeping with her.
That's okay. That's not a problem.
All right. As a I don't follow the comics or any of this shit. The movie was just really fun to me because what Superman's painted out to be for most people who aren't into the comics and all that stuff is he's supposed to be this dude who always like pulls through somehow.
Oh, he doesn't pull through. He's the ultimate god.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, he's that too, which also makes him very unlikable because people are like, you can't relate to Superman, and all
Your
of this.
weakness isn't a green rock.
But
That
you can't
green rock
really-
you can get at 7-Eleven because every villain has it. No,
The thing you can relate to Superman though, because if you read like Superman books, he has more than just the struggle with his power. Like he has the inner struggle with himself. Like he never feels adequate on Earth.
All right,
Like,
well, you just completely opposed, like, you were on the opposite side of what I just said as someone who never, ever fucking reads up on these things.
yeah, I know.
But here's the thing: in the next one, they have to incorporate Kryptonite.
I think his next movie is
Well, with
Superman and Batman.
Batman's
Where does it
probably
come
gonna
from
have
then?
Don't ask me, bro.
That's the thing. The only thing that
It's
physically
Superman
weakened him
versus- is it
as
versus
a
or
character.
Superman and?
I think it's just Superman Batman. I think that's what it's called.
There's no
versus
official
Superman.
title.
Oh, there's
yet.
no
No.
official title yet.
It's just Superman Batman.
They'll
Because
probably call it
I've heard-
Man of Steel something.
I
or
doubt
not.
they're gonna fight. They'll fight
Because
That's
they
not gonna be
showed
the
the
whole
Wayne
point of the
Tech
movie.
satellite and all that bullshit.
Yeah. All right. Sorry for interrupting you, Newman. Let's continue on the Superman.
It felt like a funky movie to me. Like it was like a really good movie, but then there's certain elements of Superman that me as someone who doesn't follow comics like has come to expect based around my fucking surroundings and shit. That it kind of just felt a little odd on.
Yeah.
And then there were certain parts of the movie that were weird to me, like when Zod came down and he was just like he knew who Lois Lane was and like she knew Superman. She's like, "You bitch,
That's
you."
yeah.
It just kind of was like, how the fuck do you even know that?
But you gotta understand, like it's a 75-year-old character. Like you really no one's gonna notice a guy who just parts his hair and puts glasses on. Like I get maybe
Yeah,
like
I know
she'll
that.
recognize him, but everyone else is gonna see him flying so fast that they're not gonna see him.
It was true, but it was just like, how the fuck did they know Lois Lane knew this bitch?
Oh, you mean when Zod comes out and points?
Yeah, I knew she did. Didn't she do some news article or some bullshit about it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing was, like, her
face.
face wasn't on the news article that I know of, and unless Zod is googling people,
He shows up in the movie and he tells Earth that you are harboring one of my people.
yeah, he
and
does
I want
that.
him.
But then when Superman shows up at that airfield, and then he's with Lois Lane, and like at that point, there was no point where I was like, they know who Lois Lane is. Superman walks up, and they're like, we want you too, because why? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like they were just like, Lois Lane, get on the ship.
I'm sure there's a I'd have to go back and watch. I'm sure there's a reason.
You're gonna have
why.
to tell me
I thought it was because she was like, no, I'm coming. I'm just gonna come with
No,
you.
she was standing next to one of the generals behind Superman, and he was like, all right, I'll give myself up. And they're
Yeah,
like,
and then
all
there was
right.
like the big deal where he's like, "No, take me. You don't need her." Blah blah blah.
Yeah, I was like, how do you know?
Yeah,
I have to go back and watch.
That was
it
kind
and
of
see
weird.
why.
I don't really understand
That-
how they picked up who Lois Lane was. Either.
That threw me out because I was just like, how do they even know this bitch? And then the second part was literally Superman just smashing through buildings
Oh,
and shit.
dude,
It was
Superman
like, dude,
stomped Metropolis.
how many people did you fucking murder?
Well, I
Jesus.
think at that point that city was evacuated
Yeah,
for the
exactly.
most part.
No,
That big
like,
death machine.
But the thing, they made it seem like the buildings were just getting evacuated because they showed the inside of the Daily Planet where people were like,
Because
"Wait,
they were
what's
fighting
going on?
within-
Oh shit, let's go!" And it was like the building right across the street was coming down, and they just fucking evacuated. But Superman was still like, people were flying through buildings
No,
after
that
Yeah.
was when Superman was on the other side of the planet fighting the other thing.
Because then, no, the dudes from the Daily Planet were still like running through the street barely, and buildings were coming down on people, and they were still flying through fucking buildings.
It's
wasn't
one of
across
those
the board.
action cut clip like kind of things. It's who knows? It's a fucking fictitious.
Yeah,
It's
Superman
not,
is
it's not
movie.
real,
Calm
but
down.
like
No,
I get the damage that's
that's
going.
not the point of this stupid
That's
ass.
the point.
You don't
The
say
way
it's a
I
movie,
see it
brush it off and go on to the next topic.
Is that when he's doing all the damaging, like throwing through buildings and stuff like that? I'm just gonna say that is part of the city that is
Well, yeah.
leveled at that point. That's the only way I can see it, because like that city is supposed to be so freaking massive that like I don't think he can, dodge a bullet. I think he has in the next one he's gonna have that weight on his shoulders of I saved the city, but I still let a shit ton of people down. I could take it easier next time. I'm pretty sure if he does fight Batman, I'm sure if he punches him through the air, he's dead. And I know that's not the way it's going to happen.
That's going to be one of the main points for Superman not to go all out on Batman because he knows what he can do now. Like
he's not going to take
his face
what he does
to these buildings. And like, he's already fought one of his own, so he knows if he punches a human being, they will just explode.
Yeah, he understands.
And he knows that Bruce Wayne's a human, so he's not going to like try to like go balls deep on Batman.
Now with the Zod neck snap, my problem wasn't with the neck snap; it was with the dumbass people he were trying to kill.
Oh my god!
It
was just like
1,000 times.
It was like, run, you
it's
stupid
like, dude,
motherfuckers!
There's plenty of room to the left of you.
Well,
No?
he's holding his
All
head.
right.
You can just crawl.
Like,
You can just crawl on the ground. He can't aim down. He's got.
They literally,
he's got it.
they literally had like 2 minutes to just walk to the other side of the building and be like,
Like that, yeah.
Have you ever been trapped by an eye laser before?
I'm about to backhand you, fucking glasses.
Maybe the
game,
eye laser
whatever it is.
radiates paralysis. I don't know.
Or whatever. So that was
Yeah,
stupid
you
to
don't
me
know.
too. But one thing I will give it credit for is I think they paced the movie really well. They got to his backstory from Krypton, and then they transitioned at a well pace.
They focus too much on that.
The Krypton
I
thing.
know he's got two dads, but his character is based off Jonathan, and there was not that Jonathan
because
influence.
There
in the
wasn't
movie.
enough.
No, wait.
There was
No,
a
no,
lot
no.
of Russell
Are you
Crowe.
There was a lot of him.
No, I
Yeah.
think that people already know this shit.
Yeah,
though.
but that's what makes him who he is as the savior of Earth. Where he gets his morality is
But I
from
think-
is not from his dead father.
Yeah,
Well,
he
his
never really
own
met
world.
him.
No,
Like,
well, I
he's
think-
met a hologram.
I think the thing is though, in this like day and age, there's enough fucking Superman material to where most people fucking already kind of know Superman's origin story on Earth at least. And so I appreciated the fact that they showed Krypton a bit, and they actually like showed how his fucking planet fucking got destroyed and he was fucking shipped off. It was good for someone who doesn't follow the comics.
I know
To me.
it's one of those things that he's supposed to be. He's an alien living on Earth. He considers himself.
But it's like
Human,
It's
but-
like Spider-Man. Everyone fucking knows Uncle Ben dies. No one gives a shit anymore.
But I felt like he was being
It's
raised
like,
as instead
fuck.
of a person of Earth, a person of Krypton just living on Earth. It was Jor-El giving like you need to do this. Like it felt like Jor-El, like the roles were switched. Like
Yeah.
Jor-El was Jonathan and Jonathan because there's a line that fucking
see,
bothered me that Jonathan says, and when Clark says, "Should I have let them die?" and he just goes, "Maybe."
Yeah.
Who- he would
Papa
never,
Kent would
ever
never
say
have
that.
said
But see, this is literally like one piece of media out of like hundreds that Superman's been a part of where this isn't the case. It's literally just one thing where this has been the fucking.
My thing is that when Clark was down about something, no matter what it was in the books in Smallville, they nailed Jonathan's role. Smallville did it best. You can hate that show all you want, but those little moments where he's like, "I don't know if I can do this," who shows up there and be like, "Yes, you can. Whatever way you do it, it's your choice. But you know what to do. I raised you to be this person. You know what choices
I think
need to be
Papa
made."
Kent was definitely a good.
He wasn't in the movie enough for me.
He did. He wasn't the Papa Kent that was supposed to be there. Like Papa Kent really molds Clark into who he is.
Because that's from Birthright, like the whole oh, I'm gonna run towards a tornado.
That
I'm
might
like,
have just
oh.
been a difficult part of things.
Have a
It's
heart
like, so
attack.
I'm gonna
Like,
die
because-
and be motivated. by
Papa
it.
Kent sacrificed himself for the fucking family dog. Can
That
I
was-
just get that out there? Like,
that was stupid.
does that need to happen?
That was stupid to me. Like I was like, seriously, the fucking dog. Like
Yeah.
that was worth it.
It's a fucking border collie. They come a dime a dozen.
Buy another one,
He's
dude.
crypto.
Who gives a shit? I don't know. Well,
I
I
thought it was- I
appreciated
thought it was
that this
better
one
than-
thing gave a little more.
I'm
like,
just glad
highlights
there
to his
was
back.
just action. It was too much. Like it was a little over the. It was Zack Snyder over the top kind of craziness.
Yeah.
But I want to see what he's now with movie technology. I get in the '70s they couldn't do it.
I think like both sides are interested to see where at least the series goes.
Yeah.
Like from here on.
yeah.
So they
I-
did that well.
Well, they're obviously setting up Justice League in that movie because
Yeah,
if
they
you
are.
watch the little Easter eggs that pause, like
it's-
Did
there's
you hear
a
that-
Booster Gold reference in there.
Yeah,
There's
the
a
movie sign.
ton of
Did you
crap.
hear that they're trying to turn Spider-Man into his own little league?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
with
the
Venom,
Sinister
Spider-Man,
Six.
and the Sinister Six.
Yeah.
The next
Yeah.
one's supposed to have like the Shocker and all this other bullshit.
Let's hope Sony
Lame.
loses
It's
Marvel
like,
movie rights by
I
then.
vibrate thing.
Like,
Yes.
please God, like, because like
Yes.
I've seen the production of what's happening to the new supervillains, and I'm not impressed.
second
I think
movie.
you could tell it the best. Seth. Like, what are your thoughts on the new movie villains for the Amazing Spider-Man 2?
With,
What the
Lobo
design
Rhino?
of the artistic design they chose for these villains and how they came to be?
So do we have any other like thoughts on other movies besides Superman? Because this is probably going to go on for like an hour.
Oh, we're on Spider-Man.
We're on
I want to hear
Spider-Man.
Seth's thoughts on the
Alright,
new
Spider-Man.
villains in
Alright.
Spider-Man 2.
I saw the trailer.
The first one
Trailers.
was okay. It's one of those things. It's like, well, you finally put a character into the movie that I've been waiting for, and you didn't quite do him the way he was supposed to be
I
done.
feel Jamie Foxx looks really Jamie Foxx.
Well, that's okay. Now this is where the second one comes
I
in.
can
Like
only see
So
Jamie.
you mean the lizard?
Blue Jamie
the lizard.
Foxx.
Well,
Yeah.
the first one was good, but it wasn't
The D's.
great. But
Like how they build him up in
Django
the
is-
original
is the
Spider-Man.
he's supposed to be he's a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde character. Instead, he became this. I'm Dr. Jonathan Connors. Like, I'm still pissed off. I'm angry all the
still
time.
evil.
I'm still evil,
Yeah.
and he was never like that because when he comes out of it, doesn't remember anything. It's
Yeah,
like
he's
the
supposed
Hulk
to be
situation.
the-
Like he knows, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
Supposed to be really cool
Like
and
they-
help Peter, and then he's like, I can't control it. You better get out of
Now
here.
the second one, wow, what a fucking heartbreak that's gonna be. One, Jamie Foxx. Okay, I'm sorry.
No,
Racism put aside.
I just said
There's
what you're
certain
probably about to
characters.
say.
There's certain characters that need to stay a certain way, and well, I understand Electro. He's not going to have a green outfit
All right,
with an
wait.
Electro Bolt
Let me
mask,
pre-tense
but he's
real
also
quick.
not black.
He's also
Let me
not the
pre-tense
Sith
real
Lord.
I just said that Jamie Foxx looks a little too fucking Jamie Foxx for this movie. To
He's-
where
if-
he shouldn't be in it.
I can
'cause
already
all I
tell
can
that
see
he's
is
going to chew
blue
the
Jamie
scenery in
Foxx.
that movie. His dialogue is going to be delivered shitty.
He's like fucking Sam Jackson in Star Wars. It's
Yeah,
like
he-
all I'm
he's-
seeing is
He's
Jamie
a
Foxx
good
talking
actor.
like-
Ray is his best movie where he does a character that's not Jamie Foxx, and he does it exactly how it's supposed to be done. Now,
But this is
like,
not that
it's
case.
Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, he's back to
it's
doing
Dr.
Jamie Foxx.
Manhattan Fox is
Yeah,
who it
exactly.
is. Like,
Dr. Fox.
and the rhino suit.
Oh
Oh,
my
that
God.
is the
Like a
character
rhino,
I've been
rhino.
waiting for since Raimi took it over because he could have done it perfectly, and now it's this fucking abomination of a mech T-Rex arm thing, and it
And
just.
You know the fuck
Oh.
And it's just an opening like fight scene filler.
like the fuck of it all is that if Sony allowed Sam Raimi to just do the Sandman like he wanted to in Spider-Man 3, we would have probably seen the Rhino in Spider-Man 4, or like the Scorpion, or the, like someone cool.
See, I
Yeah,
like
but
the
then they put
Sandman in
Venom in
number
that
in number
movie.
3. It was just too many villains going.
Yeah,
on.
that's
I
what,
didn't
like,
like that.
I like the Sandman. I hated Venom.
Venom
Exactly,
was
like
lame. He
Brash.
wasn't big and ripped, and he's
Yeah,
you know
he was fucking the
he's
dude
not
from that
Eddie
Sydney
Brock.
show.
Eddie Brock's supposed to be
Yeah.
crippled, and they didn't really do that. That's why he
Yeah.
has the suit is so he can walk essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it's supposed to be. But and if they do the Sinister Six, I know I'm not going to get a cool Venom again, and it's.
think they're-
And now
Everybody's
Oscorp is we make all the villains. We're going to produce
Yeah,
fucking
Oscorp
this
is
army
like
of villains to
the,
fuck
like,
Spider-Man.
The
Fuck
cancer
him.
of the Spider-Man universe now, when they're only ever tied to the Hobgoblin and the Green Goblin.
Well, that's the
Yeah.
thing. So Harry's the Green Goblin.
Yeah, I don't know.
What the
like,
fuck is that? And he
apparently.
looks fucking like Billy Idol in the fucking movie, dude. He's got. It's like a mixture of Billy Idol with David Bowie, and I don't get it. Like, why can't you guys make the Green Goblin the fucking Green Goblin? Like, yes, okay, taking it into the future with William Dafoe, who's probably the best
Yes.
at Green Goblin, not Norman Osborn, but he nails like that. He's such a good character
Oh,
actor.
you didn't have to put a
The
mask
mask-
on Norman Osborn.
But that's the thing, like the original Green Goblin, he was gonna have prosthetic on and stuff. Like he was supposed to look like he was wearing a mask, but it was like how they're doing the second one, where he forms fucking ears and teeth and
Yeah.
hair and shit. And now it's I don't know he's not hard to make. Why is he wearing like this fucking Master Chief armor shit? Now? Like,
Yeah, like what happened?
like, did you
to the
see? Have you
trick?
seen the trailer when it shows his back?
Oh,
When
yeah.
it moves, it has like all these gears moving
It's-
his body and shit. Why does he need that?
I don't know. Like just imagine what Doctor Octopus is gonna look like, because they showed the 6 doors, and there's a.
Well, they
three
showed the
other
6 doors. They
motherfuckers.
showed the vulture wings and
Yeah.
and the. And
Do you think
the
there's ever going to be a
prosthetics.
Spider-Man like series of movies that gets to Carnage or Black Cat?
Oh, sadly,
Anybody
I
I
else?
want no Carnage. Why is because the way that character is designed is
Too graphic.
he's a serial killer.
Yeah,
he's,
he's like-
he's the most violent
Yeah.
fucking thing, and that's why. I mean, I can see the only way I can see him coming in is if they can make a really pushing it PG-13 to R movie of Venom, and if they do what Venom's doing now,
I think this is just like
where
do
he's a
one-off
good guy
where,
because
like, all right,
Carnage
this
is
is
back.
rated R.
Yeah.
So Carnage is
I
one of those
feel-
things that even bad guys want
Yeah.
to stop.
My
you know,
opinion on Carnage is this: like the movie of Carnage is not going to happen for the same reason the Deadpool movie will never happen, because they're like R-rated properties in the
Deadpool's
universe.
very
that is not
R-rated.
R-rated.
Yeah.
Like they used to make R-rated properties for these movies, but they have stopped since
They got
because
too
they
much.
got so popular that they're not going to risk the franchise anymore to like make these.
You want to know
Well,
why?
they made
These
more
risks-
money off of PG.
Yeah, because of the kids.
It's for the kids.
Yeah, exactly.
It's for the kids. No,
It's for
I
the
don't know.
kids.
They just need to give up the rights. Like they know people are gonna bitch, and it's this whole. I hate that closet. Like, oh well, we don't have to make a movie for 4 years. We'll just reboot it in 5. And so on that 6th year when we're supposed to give it rights, we're just gonna kick out this piece of shit to keep the rights. Like, it's come on.
Yeah, just give
give
the
it up.
rights back to Marvel.
But here's my thing. This is what I've always said. If your plan was to make 3 movies and 2 of them fail, give it up.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic Four, give the rights back. You
Yeah.
fucking
Well, and they're
failed.
They're
Yeah.
rebooting Fantastic Four.
Exactly, and
Really?
for the worst.
Yeah, Jamie Foxx is gonna be Johnny Blaze.
It's not Jamie Foxx, but
No, it's not Jamie.
it's another. It's
Might
another.
as well. Be.
It's another character they're completely.
Edit
Find one person in this world, a black person named Johnny Storm.
Me.
I don't give a shit if he's adopted or
Fucking
not.
no, dude.
No kid is named. I've never met a black kid named Johnny. I'm sorry, I've never seen it.
Yeah.
Never.
I've met a
And last
Mexican.
name's Storm.
I've met a Mexican.
But in that case, I
I'm
feel
gonna-
like that if they ever did Carnage, he would be like how Fantastic Four did "quote unquote" Galactus.
Oh my
a
god.
fucking cloud.
A poop cloud.
I think I can see the helmet formation in the cloud cluster.
I got a fucking giant gas fingers that come to the earth. Like, come on.
Yeah, that was.
It's
like-
Oh, I'm in there. I'm just a shadow.
Yeah, it's a travesty.
I'm in there. I'm just too cool to look at.
God.
What's your
Galactus.
guys' thought on the new X-Men movie?
Days of Futures Past. It could be good.
High
This
hopes.
could be the.
It's cool that Bryan Singer's going back to it, but I have a feeling it's going to be like number 2, where nothing really happened and it was just a very boring.
Oh yeah,
Wolverine
they're drawing
story.
this one out.
Yeah,
Again?
Yeah, Wolverine featuring everybody
Yeah,
else.
because the
I
comic book
like
Days of Futures Past
the
followed
new-
Wolverine a lot, so like the movie's gonna like continue to do so.
First Class was a nice change because it felt
Yeah.
fresh and it felt an homage to the classic 60s stuff.
You know, I
Yeah.
honestly
And-
liked First Class the best because Wolverine wasn't in it.
Yes.
So they were able to
Yes.
actually focus on the X-Men.
Well, actually, he was
themselves.
in it.
Yeah, he was in
Sorry.
it. You just go fuck
Yeah,
yourselves.
go fuck
And that was like that's all
I
you
thought
needed.
that was a
like
perfect
that was
amount,
my
yeah.
that was the
perfect
perfect
cameo
amount
from
of
like
Perfect
Wolverine.
amount.
I was
Just
like,
a
that
little
was
fucking
Wolverine.
dash of fuck yourself, and we're good.
But
Yeah,
the
it's
thing
like,
is
alright.
that franchise is so screwed up in the timeline that okay, so when is he the new Wolverine? He's in Japan, which is assuming it's after the events in
that
number
movie, I
3.
could talk
So
so much
why
about how
in
bad that was.
Futures Past when they're
It's better than
searching for
Origins.
mutants in the 60s,
Yeah, it was.
he's in Japan?
Fuck.
Why is he there again? Like, and he has no recollection. Like, even it says in in Wolverine or 2 or whatever it's called. He even says, "I don't want to go to Japan. I don't like that place." But he's in it in the '60s again. Like, why is he there? Like, it's one of those franchises that just like get your timeline together.
Well, the issue is that they want to write this Wolverine who's, I mean, sure, it is still the Wolverine who's like, oh, like, I don't like teams, but, you know, he's always in every team. He's in the Avengers and New Avengers and Dark Avengers and the X-Men and, you know, all these other things. And then they have the X-Men, but then they want to write it about the guy who doesn't even want to be a part of the team and not what X-Men
It's
is
because he's
about.
the most
Yeah.
notable character.
That's literally
in
the biggest problem X-Men will ever have is the fact that Wolverine is too popular.
Yeah,
They
I
can't
feel
give the fucking
Yeah.
spotlight to anybody else because they've made Wolverine too fucking popular.
yeah.
And
Like
if I'm
even,
gonna say,
I wouldn't say they made it popular. I think it's just because Hugh Jackman did such a good job.
yeah,
of
Hugh
portraying
Jackman did a really good
Wolverine.
job.
okay,
But I
yeah,
think,
he
you know-
acted better than everyone else. But
Well, you know who the original Wolverine was going to be in the original early '90s X-Men movie, right?
no.
Bob Hoskins.
Get
That,
the fuck out of
that
here.
would be size
Bob
appropriate.
Hoskins?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be size appropriate, but that's just hilarious. I'm sorry,
You
but
know, like it could have been that.
Super Mario is gonna
That
be
would have been
freaking
awesome.
Wolverine.
would've
That
been
could have turned
awesome.
out better for the franchise as a whole.
But that being said, on Wolverine's popularity, even like Marvel knows that they're victim of making Wolverine too popular.
Yeah.
Because in the recent Deadpool, it wasn't any recent anymore. It came out last year, but the Deadpool kills the Marvel universe. even Deadpool mentions the fact that he's like, Wolverine, it's not the fact that you regenerate, it's just the fact that you're too damn popular.
Well, that's why I like how Joss Whedon pulled the Avengers off, is because he didn't focus on one character. Like, I know everyone's going to say Robert Downey Jr. is the star of it, but I can watch that movie and feel like he is not stealing it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Well,
I know he's sort of the core main part of it a little bit,
I think
but
he was the star of the down segments. Like when shit wasn't going on and it was about everyone. Like whenever he opened his fucking mouth, he
the
always
Hulk
was
stole the
type
movie
of-
for me.
Oh,
that was
yeah.
the best part of that movie was
Well,
the Hulk.
yeah, it was like when shit's getting boring, Robert Downey Jr. spoke up a lot, and then when shit was getting
But that's
fucking
I can
real,
watch those movies, like even the standalones before they get to the big team ups, like Thor 2. Like I can sit there and be like, what was great about Thor 2 is when they put Chris Evans in it. Instead of having Loki be, Tony Stark, which would be the wisest choice because he had the more dialogue, but
that's
instead
because
he
of Winter
picked it
Soldier,
the
though, but yes.
oh, you want to be like the Captain of Earth kind of thing.
These tights.
It's one of those things that Marvel sees like they're not trying to push Robert Downey Jr. on everybody.
I think that was more of a product that Winter Soldier's the next movie, more than they were trying to like spread.
No, I know it's the next movie, but Robert Downey Jr. is not going to be in these movies for very much longer. At one point, he's only got till Avengers 3. He's not doing any more Iron Mans unless he says okay or it's.
You guys read
good.
that thing about that he got them all back on the project or something because they were all getting paid less than him.
Yeah.
And he like.
Well, you got to. In his defense, like Chris Hemsworth has not been acting for 30-something years like Robert Downey Jr. has, and Robert Downey Jr. has been up and down in his career, and he's made good movies and he's made really shitty movies. But he defined that whole franchise. When Iron Man came
Iron
out,
Man 1?
it was that was such a perfect movie, and you couldn't have casted anybody like he was perfect. I'm sorry, he was perfect.
And that being said, on
Yeah.
Robert Downey's payroll, I honestly justify the fact that Robert Downey's making the most money because he has the most face time and the most acting to do in these movies. Because Thor, he doesn't talk much. He's not that interesting of a character, and when he does talk, it's only like really, really quick bursts. And when he's doing the action segments, it's all special effects. Same with Captain America. Chris Evans didn't do much acting in that movie. He was all special effects. But Robert Downey Jr. acted his ass off to become Tony Stark. Like
I think it was just when Avengers came out and they paid him $50 million. Like I think his base was like 15, and they're like, oh, we're going to give you 50 because it made a fucking gajillion dollars. Yeah. But I think that was just a thing being like, hey, this is because you helped do this. Like if it wasn't for Iron Man 1, there wouldn't be no Phase 2 happening.
Yeah, exactly.
That movie kind of set it up. Like, you can't give Sam Jackson has made like 200 something movies in his whole career.
No one gives a shit about what Sam Jackson did.
Yeah, but you can't get mad. Like you understand how much time you're going to be in a movie.
Sam
you can't
Jackson
expect.
could fucking fart in Lay's commercial. So
I know, but he doesn't. He's the type of person who's not going to go like, "Oh man, I should get $50 million."
Yeah,
like, he knows his role in the movie. It's not big. It's small.
But at the same time, aren't they doing a Nick Fury movie?
No, they canceled it.
No?
Yeah, they decided not to go with the Nick Fury movie.
I wouldn't want to watch it.
No,
that's why
I
I think
wouldn't
that's why
wanna
they
watch
did
it
the Shield.
Yeah, that's why they did
Yeah.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Has anybody seen that?
It's awful.
I'd rather watch movies about
Well, because, they're
I've
not
heard
going
good
to
and
have
bad.
any of the main superheroes, and they don't have good supervillains.
Which is what I
Dude,
said
they're
the problem was going to be with
It's a name drop show is what it is. It's a show that has no fucking arc in it, and they're on like the 10th episode is going to come up. There's nothing happening that's going to end of this season other than they're
any
hinting.
superheroes coming into that movie?
I think the best thing that
So
series could
obscure
do
ones.
is hype
Really
up the next movie.
like D-list characters like Graviton.
Yeah, Graviton.
Yeah,
They
obscure
established
villains.
Graviton. When the fuck are they going to use Graviton?
Scorch is in it.
They need to have top name superheroes.
No, I think the
top
best
name
thing-
And that's where the
actors
name
to
drop
be-
comes in. They'll be like talking and like, oh, look, I'm gonna act like Captain America, and the way they say it is just like wink.
Yeah, it's like,
you want him to look at the camera,
advertisement.
like see the next movie, like, and there's like ties to the other movies, and
That's dumb.
it's more of just, hey, we don't have any movies to put out for a year because they're not, they're still in production, so here's stuff.
Yeah,
to
it's
wait
like
with.
Marvel's
Yeah,
like
here's
just
some
putting
filler.
filler on
If they
television.
didn't have Phil
Just-
Coulson in that show, it wouldn't work. That's
Yeah.
the only thing that's keeping it alive.
Yeah,
and that's, I think, that I know that's the arc is how he survived and how he's still alive after the events of the Avengers. But it's taking so fucking long to get to. It's these little. after credit things they do in the show too, where it's like leading to it, and it's like just get to the fucking point. Is he a robot or not? Is he a clone or not? Like, what is he?
Yeah, what is Agent Coulson? Like, stop pretending and hinting at the fact. All right.
Like, hey,
All right, we've gone enough about movies. So for 2013, what were your biggest letdowns?
Just in general.
And or
we can get real specific.
and or honorable mentions. Something you think deserves at least something, good or bad. It could just be something that wasn't quite up there, but you need to talk about.
Justin Bieber retiring, and that was a joke.
Oh God, I wish.
That was my most happy thing that happened in
that
2013, and the most disappointing
that
that wasn't
one
true.
fucking
Those
sentence.
wait.
You just brought my spirits completely up and just threw them at the fucking
Yeah,
ground.
it's like
Mhm.
Shit, you were
It's
like,
like
Justin
shit
Bieber
vomit.
retiring was a joke. Fuck. Damn.
I figured that was gonna be, oh, he's not gonna do music anymore, and now he's gonna do acting.
And then he'll get
Oh.
shit
Needs to
on.
die.
Oh,
And
that
because
would
So
when
I
you
guess
get
that's
no.
a happy moment for you, that knowing he's not going to do acting now.
Let's
Yeah.
please keep him into music. That way I
Yeah.
can choose not to listen
Thank God.
to
Yeah.
it. Instead of him ruining the roles that I would want to see.
You're like Kristen Stewart.
He'll turn into Vanilla.
all right, can
Ice,
we
it's okay.
can we get off of Justin Bieber forever?
Alright.
Just
Never,
never
again will I mention Justin Bieber.
That was my high and low
Don't
point.
bring it up.
You just like created the greatest low to this fucking podcast ever. Fuck.
I appreciate it.
Well, I'll bring up one letdown that I had for 2013, which was part of Grand Theft Auto 5. I thought that they did not have enough heists in the game. I thought that in the story, they had so few that it just kind of let me down.
On the level of
Here
Grand
we
Theft Auto
go.
5, let's
Here
talk
we
about
go.
GTA Online.
Uh-oh.
Was one of the
No,
biggest
I don't want to
fucking
talk about
letdowns.
GTA.
We don't
we
have
have like
hours
2.5
to pour into
hours
this.
last time. I don't
But
want.
I'm just saying
We're
letdowns.
at an
All
hour
right, guys.
and 30 minutes.
I'm just saying, I'm not gonna bring into any like freaking detailed discussion. I'm just saying letdowns. GTA Online.
If you want our
Any
opinions,
topic,
go watch
right.
the beta episode we did.
Yeah,
if you
watch
wanna
the
hear
beta
about
if
it.
you want to hear
Pilot
about this.
episode of the Ranters. It's on the same page. You can find it.
Yes.
And we'll try to put this on more pages
GTA
so you guys can
Online.
find it.
Awful.
But yeah, fuck that game. So
Newman's never liked the game, so his opinion doesn't
No,
really matter in the
it's-
subject.
it's not-
No, Newman, you know, I know.
God
Gator
damn it,
Jones
Josh.
knows.
Gator Joe.
Gator
That's
Jones.
his fucking name. I remember
That's
it.
what the
Thank
fuck
you.
it was. All right, glasses, fucking Samson, whatever your name is.
Those are all good.
Come on, fucking glasses, man. Give it to us. What's your biggest either letdown or honorable mention? Either or. You can get both if you want.
Honorable mention.
Something just below the radar.
I think this came out this year or last year. I liked it. It was in the same vein as
So let us know what it is.
Metal Gear Rising.
No, thank you.
I liked it.
Oh, you liked it.
It's good.
Which you did not
Oh
let
god.
me.
See, I'm glad you brought that up.
Forgot.
You sneaky bastard.
I hated that game as a Metal Gear game, but I loved it as a
It
Devil May
wasn't
Cry.
Metal Gear Solid.
It
I can
was
believe
no,
that.
it wasn't Metal
That's
Gear
the way I'm
anything.
pretty
Fun
much gonna
game.
look at it when I
Didn't
play
need to have the Metal Gear name in it.
Did not need.
That's
to be
another example of Konami putting one of their
You know what it could've
eyeball
been called?
franchises somewhere.
Raiden.
Yeah, exactly.
It's throwing a title that'll sell on a game that. Will
However, if they would have called it Raiden, Capcom could have sued their asses
they
off.
could have made Raiden.
Because
They could-
Raiden is a freaking over-the-top air
They
shooter.
could have made
Yeah.
Raiden May Cry, and I would be like, all right.
But yeah, they could have called it something other than Metal Gear.
Metal
They
Gear,
didn't
yeah.
have to add Metal Gear to the name to
Though
make
I
it hype.
hated that
Well, what?
the pre-order bonus or whatever, they had a CD that came with it, except they skipped all the good songs. Like all that song that you heard
I
that you
didn't
liked
pre-order it,
during
so.
that one boss fight. Oh yeah, too bad. All you get is the audio tracks.
Wait, you
the-
pre-ordered the one with the touch globe lightning thing?
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The little lightning globe. Yeah, I didn't get that one because I didn't care about it. Was that your worst thing?
I didn't really have a letdown that somebody else didn't already say. I mean, I
All right.
wasn't crazy about Iron Man
Well,
3.
I'll counterbalance your
Very
thing
good
because I
point.
don't have anything that stood out very much. But the one thing that 2013 drop my pen showed me was that I'm going to hate the future of gaming because hackers have a lot of power now.
Yeah, they do.
There's so many, like Steam just went down because of hackers. EA servers went down.
That was
League of
one.
Legends servers were down.
That's because someone's an asshole, and once school vacation is over,
Yeah.
we won't have
That's
assholes like
even
that.
worse.
Because there was no
Welcome
point
to
to
the
it.
PC
That's
universe.
There was no
Welcome.
stealing people's
We've dealt with
information.
this
It was
for
just to be an asshole.
Yeah,
No,
just
That's all it was.
That's even
regular
worse, though.
assholery.
Yeah.
Because it's a bunch of fucking little dipshit kids.
Exactly.
That,
Winter break's almost over, and they'll go back to school. We'll be okay.
That has
here
much
till
time to
summer.
fucking
Until
sit on the
summer.
computer.
Like, sadly, this happens all the time. Like, this is not the first time this has ever happened
Well,
in the PC
oh,
world.
no,
it will keep
It will
on
happen consistently year
Well-
in, year out.
With the new consoles being like proportionately more online based, then there's definitely going to be some bigger problems ahead, thanks to these motherfuckers.
Oh yeah.
Huge problems, and there's going to be fucking credit cards compromised. I'm calling it now. There's going to be like
There already has
passwords leaked. No, I know, but for
You're
it's
just
gonna
bringing up
happen
old
again.
topics. Like,
Yeah.
like honestly, like I know
No.
what you feel is new
'Cause-
is new to
no.
you, but I've dealt with this for years. Like
Well, there
as
you
a
go.
PC
Sony
gamer,
got their fucking
like I've had to
shit
deal with
hacked.
this at least on like
Sony
7
got their shit
different
hacked,
occasions.
but then like also Microsoft has had Xbox Live down for weeks thanks to fucking like on different occasions thanks to hackers and all that shit. But now that like in my group of gaming that I do is mostly console, it's going to happen a lot more often.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks. So because we're getting closer and closer to being a PC.
yeah,
and a
you're
fucking-
just feeling what we've been feeling for like
yeah, and I'm
years.
sad about that shit.
Yeah, it
Fuck.
happens, but
I don't
you
want
know,
that.
It's not game breaking. Like honestly, like you could do something else for like a couple days.
Just
True,
play
but no
offline.
one, no one wants to feel
Oh,
like their
well, we're playing
information
offline
has
for
just
a
been
couple of days.
compromised. No matter what you're doing, no one wants to feel like my information just got leaked to a bunch of dipshits.
Yeah, but as long as you got a handle on your own information, you shouldn't be at risk.
Once I got an Xbox One, my rights were taken away.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got a
you're
camera
enjoying
sitting
it,
in
right?
front of me the
Yeah.
entire time. It doesn't.
You have
You're
have
lucky
the
you
NSA
didn't
in
have
your
what
house, but
they-
You're still enjoying Dead Rising 3, right?
No, because Microsoft is a part of the partners with NSA. They're
Yeah.
on their list.
Yeah.
You don't. The Xbox One's not fucking hidden from them.
No, I'm saying you have the NSA in your house, but you're still enjoying Dead Rising 3, right?
Alright, just
That's what I'm saying. It's
Well,
like,
I haven't played it since I brought it up, so I'm not playing it yet. But yeah,
but I mean,
I don't
people
feel
know
comfortable
that.
like sitting in my bed with that camera pointing at me.
Oh no, you gotta like unplug it or something.
Alright.
But
well, I think everyone is
Turn
finished
it the
with
other way.
their biggest disappointments of 2013.
I do have an honorable mention
What's up, bro?
for 2013.
Spill it
I
on me.
really enjoyed the movie Secret Life of Walter Mitty. I thought
Yes, that movie was pretty
Is that
good.
the
Very
Ben
good.
Stiller movie?
Yeah, it is.
Yes. I thought he did a
It is
really
the Ben
good job
Stiller
in that
movie, directed by Ben Stiller, and main character is Ben Stiller.
He actually killed it, dude.
There's
He
only
destroyed
one good
that.
Ben Stiller movie. Heavyweights.
I thought you were gonna say
do it, Laws. Do it.
Should that be our end? Do it to it.
All right, one more. If we're
Alright.
doing movie honorable mentions, because I really
Alright.
say it honorable.
All right, drop a hotline and I'll end it right afterwards.
American Hustle, spectacular.
I just saw it. Awesome. Loved
I
it.
said
What?
drop a
Thank
hotline,
you.
not a
I
fucking
did.
movie title.
I went and saw it
What?
with Kate.
You said you didn't even
Well,
have
that's
for
the
it.
end of our
All right,
first
the bromance's
episode
over.
of the Ranters.
I don't have card.
Good night, all.
It's been a pleasure talking to you guys. We will try to continue doing this a little more often than we have previously, which is never.
We done what we're gonna look forward to in the new year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we totally should have fucking done that.
Oh,
but
we
you
can
know,
do another.
we can do that
this.
shit a
All right.
week or so, whatever. We're gonna do our aspirations for the rest of the year next time, and I hope you guys leave your feedback. Let us know what you think about this shit. You know, tell us where we should tighten some stuff up. Give us some feedback to modify and edit the podcast to your liking, and we can have this thing more catered to your fucking ears. Anyone else have anything to say?
It's fucking beautiful, man.
Fucking beautiful, man.
There you go. There's any line. This
Good
fucking
man,
beautiful.
world.
Fucking beautiful.
Bam,
man.
we found a new tag.